it doesn't matter.
So what's up?
Not for much. It's cold over you.
Cold or hot?
Hot?
Well, it's bearable. It's like 20 degrees Celsius.
Okay. I was looking to buy like a Ushanka.
A worthy choice.
Like a Russian Ushanka.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's fucking winter over here.
Isn't winter like warm in Australia? Or
It's still
in the southern?
It's not as wintry. It's like 5 degrees in the morning.
Initiating FTL jump 2.
It's like
It's baby for you, but
if
like
it's 5 degrees. It's 5 degrees. You can just go without a hat. You'll be fine, I think.
nah, everybody wears
FTL
beanies.
jump successful.
What the fuck is a
Mission
beanie?
coordinates locked. Help
Oh, I have
prime.
that. Beanie is fucking faggot crap. I wear it in winter when it's minus 20 and I want to kill myself because of that. But like, if I wear an Ushanka, I'll look cringe.
If I gave you money, would you buy it? Would you mail over a Ushanka for me?
I mean, yeah, I think I have to like Google how do you do that, but I think I'll be able to do that, yeah.
I don't know how.
But can't you just get it from AliExpress or something?
I bought one off eBay, but I fucking. I haven't got a postal number.
What do you mean? Can't it?
I'm trucking up.
Because like, aren't there should be just blocks where they mail it, and then you can come and get it. Doesn't it work like that?
100 meters. Calling down a sentry.
The ones I got have like Chinese numbers. I want like a real like Russian, authentic like Russian.
Yeah, but like all the Russian Ushankas are actually made in China.
Fair enough.
Like those are that you get in Russia. I mean. I think here I can go to Russian Army website and I can buy the authentic Russian Army made.
Yeah.
Crap. Let me see. I think I bought something from there already.
I don't know how to bank transfer to like.
Squid outpost destroyed. Illuminate north.
All right, let's see.
Illuminate.
Calling down a sentry.
Requesting sentry.
They don't fucking sell it here.
Like Ushanka.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, what is it?
Calling in reinforcements.
Why should I be proud? For you mean? I think it's over for you. You're not gonna make it. I don't know. Interesting. So those are all the hats you can get in the Russian army shop.
Okay.
Objective located. Northwest.
Wait, is the question, can I have to ask you a question?
Ask ahead.
Affirmative.
Requesting air support.
I think it has a logical error. Because like, if I answer yes, then you cannot. because it wouldn't be rape, because it would be consensual. And consensual sex isn't rape. And if I answer no, yeah, that's the only possible answer. No, you're not able to rape me then. Logically. It's logically impossible.
Quit!
I mean, they're bearable.
Calling down a sentry.
Objective located.
Freedom burn! Sending in an E.
Calling in reinforcements.
Bag's empty. Requesting sentry. Heavy. Northeast. Close. Reloading.
Dropping a pin. South. 100 meters.
Requesting sentry. Reinforcing.
So, have you been gooning lately?
No.
Package acquired.
Do you edge?
Guy edge.
Injury? What injury?
What do you edge?
Requesting sentry.
What do I edge?
Package. Requesting air
Request
support.
approved. Reinforcements have been launched.
Calling down a sentry.
Tagging map. Southwest. 100 meters.
Package acquired.
Are you like a crypto edger?
Yeah.
Calling in reinforcements.
I mean, it's basically edging, but buying crypto.
Ready to liberate.
I mean, how do you... Or you just buy Bitcoin at like the last minute?
Yeah, yeah. No, you have to keep it.
Fair enough.
Sending in an eagle. Requesting advanced weaponry. Outpost cleared.
Wait, how old are you?
Music.
How over it is? On a scale from 1 to 10.
Reinforcing.
I mean, 26, it's like late 20s. It's over.
Yeah, it is actually over.
Request approved. Reinforcements on the way.
So how do you feel about that?
Not too good. Like I'm starting to feel
Rare sample acquired.
like my legs are fucking gone.
Requesting sentry.
Have you at least accomplished anything?
Yeah.
Like
my,
what?
I do landscaping.
Calling down a sentry.
What's landscaping? It's like designing land.
Yeah, designing gardens.
Do you get paid for it?
Yep.
Is it good money?
That's fucking peanut. $20 in it. Dollary dues.
Fuck, bro. You mean Australian dollars
Yeah.
or US dollars?
Australian dollars.
So in US dollars, it's like 15 bucks.
Yep.
Bro, like, as I know, it must be pretty low for Australia, but for us, it's actually great.
That is true. I don't know how much. Right. Well, if they were to do like
You,
production.
so if you're doing like normal sales,
Requesting air support.
basically you're working in the market without paying taxes and shit. You make like, let me Google it real quick. The US dollar durable course.
Back shortly.
Dropping a pin, northwest, 300 meters.
So you make like $40 a day, which is like 10 hours.
Wow. Well, the
And
materials must be cheaper though.
what?
Like if you get a contractor, like you must be cheaper jobs there.
No, I mean, like, it's pretty low for an hourly wage. But the thing with it is the jobs where you get a good hourly rate, they're not full-time employment.
Okay.
So for example, at a construction site,
Sending down sentry.
a dude I know with no qualification, just like a 20-year-old twink, would make like 50, okay, let me Google it. 63 US dollars per day of working. Which is like 97 Australian dollars.
Calling down a sentry.
But the cost of living, like living in Russia, probably substantially. Not, like here in Australia, you're gonna be taxed out of your fucking asshole for all these socialist. It's
I mean, that is, the pay is assuming you don't pay taxes. And with most low-level jobs, you don't pay taxes at all.
yeah. And my tax rate's like 5, and because I make $40,000 less than 45, like less than 15.
Well, it must be so over to make $40,000 in Australia.
It
Is
is.
that, wait, is that AUD or USD?
80. Which is like 30.
So you make $40,000 a year in Australian dollars
Yep.
at 26?
Yeah.
Bro, it's over. I mean, you probably like mug me, but it's still over. So like the best job that I can get in Russia was chess coaching, and I was making 15 US dollars per hour at home.
That's called democracy.
And like if I was not at home, then I was making like 30 US dollars per hour.
Requesting sentry.
Okay.
Tagging map, west.
Yeah, that's still broke. I can't afford anything. I'm in debt. So wait, if you do landscaping, do you do it full time?
Yeah.
So what can you afford with that? Do you have any education though?
Nah,
Like college or
going to trade
university?
school.
Sending in an eagle.
Okay, so what can you afford with that? Do you have a car?
Found something.
Do you have a car?
Yeah, I got a van.
What's the van? Let me Google what it is.
Toyota Hayas.
The squadron.
What? I didn't get it.
Toyota IA.
Bro, how did you get to buy it? I mean, it's kind of it doesn't have any aura.
It's a fucking Indian like post. Literally drive that van.
Okay, how much did you get it for?
Requesting sentry.
50,000.
Now, if I suddenly made 10,000 USD, it would be good to buy like a two-spaced muscle car. That would be pretty good.
But why would you get a muscle car that way? It's gonna burn fucking petrol and diesel.
Yeah, but it kind of has aura. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, literally no one has a muscle car in Russia. Like no one at all.
Yeah, because
So it'll probably like someone would steal it. But like on the other hand, I don't drive often, so it would just stand there. Think about it like this. So if I don't drive anywhere, right?
yep.
And if I got a job, I would still use public transportation for that because it's cheaper, probably.
Public
Then
transport here, it's cheaper, but all the fucking kids use it, and it's like not viable. And
I mean,
you get,
in Russia,
it's still like 15, no, $100 a week just to take public, take the.
yeah. So basically, you'd only ever use a car if you need to pull some chick or on a social occasion, right? Or if you need to like go on a trip somewhere. Would you rather go on a trip somewhere in an aura-less van or in a muscle car? Think about it.
Muscle car, obviously.
Yeah, that's why you own a muscle car.
Deploying sentry.
Sending in an eagle. Found something.
You may proceed to extraction when ready.
That's insane. Dodge Challenger is fucking 40,000 US dollars. That's insane.
It's not
I'll never
40,000.
be able to-
It's
40.
It's nah. There's no way you're gonna find a Dodge Charger for 40,000.
That's
Is that used?
what do you mean? Yeah, it's used.
Oh, used? Okay, mate.
Yeah, of course. What? Why the fuck wouldn't you be able to find it for 40 grand?
You want like a 600 horsepower fucking.
Requesting sentry.
Bro, if I can get a fucking BMW for like 23 grand, or not BMW, a Mercedes for 23 grand, I feel like I could get a Charger for.
Requesting air support.
Wait, why do you have a Russian name? You're obviously not Russian.
I just like Crime and Punishment.
That's a bullshit book. Why would you read it?
It low key it is, but I'm like trying to push myself through. I like Brothers Karamazov a lot.
Affirmative.
Nah, bro, Dostoevsky is bullshit. If you read
What?
Dostoevsky and if you think Dostoevsky is like some smart literature that is making you like smarter or better than anyone, you should kill yourself because you're a faggot.
I need
I don't think books in general make you smarter or better than anyone. I just kind of like it.
Okay, why would you read it then? You could mew instead.
It's interesting.
calling down a sentry.
Why do people watch TV shows?
Deploying sentry.
So it's basically like gooning, right? Because gooning is kind of interesting too.
It's like better. It's like gooning that's better for you.
What do you mean?
Even
better?
if you're reading like, 'cause it's not slop. It's definitely not slop. If you want to call Dostoevsky slop, you're just a hater.
It is. It is.
Oh,
It is a slop.
This man was personally hurt by Dostoevsky, or someone that reads Dostoevsky.
No, I think he has a few good books. Like I can name a few of his good writings, better writings, but most of his writings.
I need to hear. Wait, let me hear at least a couple.
Okay, so Dostoevsky has what's it called in English? An article, I think. But can you apply article to a book?
I think so, because I feel like I know the book that you're talking about, or like the,
No, it's called The Jewish Question. There's a writing by Dostoevsky called The Jewish Question.
Dostoevsky has a fucking thing called The Jewish Question?
Yeah, you should read it.
Holy base. Holy base.
Sending in an eagle.
Then I would say imps or demons. That would be my second.
Stand by for takeoff.
But, boy, so you don't rock with Brothers Karamazov, is what I'm hearing.
Listen, the thing about Dostoevsky is, do you know his basic biography?
Yeah.
So basically, he was a gambling goon, and
Wait, what? I didn't know he gambled. Okay, I thought you were talking about the whole, like, him being set to be executed and shit, and, because of his writing.
Yes. Yeah, so Dostoevsky was a university student, and he joined a libtard retardation, like Antifa type shit, where they tried to they tried to execute terror attacks on the government. That's why he was arrested, and the government, well, normally you would execute people for trying to do a terror attack, but instead they were how do you say it? They had
They
mercy
got
for
sent to the
them.
labor camps, right?
Yeah. This is
The gulag.
this is what they did to, like, no, there were no gulags by then. People who think labor camps were really difficult, labor camps were not that difficult, right? They were not as bad. It was just like living in a prison and having to work. That's it.
Smells like
I mean,
squid
shit, a
guts in
fucking
here.
writer was able to make it through.
Because, like, no, if you think of gulags as like your Cold War movies where people live and have no food and nothing, no, it's not like that. You just live in a village and you can't leave. That's basically it. Just like you live in a 20th century village and you can't live, and you have to do a job. That's what it is. That's what a labor camp is. So yeah, he was instead pardoned. I remember the word pardoned, and went to a labor camp. Then at the labor camp, he realized he talked to real people because he was a retarded college student that had no life experience. And then in the labor camp, he made some life experience, and he stopped being a libtard because of it, and he became gigabase.
Yeah. Okay, wait, that's actually fucking dope. Okay, because yeah, I fucking remember, bro. There was a whole section in Brothers Karamazov where, the scumbag father goes to some like Jewish town and like learns all their sneaky tricks, which is like fucking hilarious.
Engaging orbital thrusters.
Yeah, so if you don't know the early life and childhood of Dostoevsky, it was like this.
It was like poor
He
shit,
was-
right?
No, he lived pretty poor, but he lived near some asylum for people with very heavy diseases, and it affected him. So he was, let's say, close to people who were constantly living in torture. Yeah, so then when he left the labor camp, he became a successful writer, but he also was a gambling addict, and he started traveling Europe, and he had like super massive debts. So he was constantly pressured by people who loaned him money into writing, otherwise he would be assaulted.
You know what's so funny? I feel like this is like it's similar. It's not the same. It's similar to George Carlin, the comedian. He was like, his thing was drugs though. But like, you know, like he's like famous in the comedy world or whatever.
I think George Carlin is a total faggot.
Why do you say that?
So
I mean, I know he's like pretty, you know,
Pretty
pretty liberal and all that, but
No, I mean, he was pretty funny when I was in 4th grade, but then I kind of realized that he is like a giga faggot.
He's fun. Whatever, dude.
No, if you think he's funny, you're dumb. You're like,
It is what it is, man.
you're like a normie, right?
It is what it is. You wanna call me retarded for it? It is what it is.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to have like oh yeah, I only like the most intellectual comedians. Like fuck that. I don't.
No, I mean,
like-
that's George Carlin. That's like something a faggot would say. Like, think about Sam Hyde. Sam Hyde is funny, but is Sam Hyde actually?
Oh yeah,
intellectual?
because he's like so much better than George Carlin. Like it's not even a competition. Like they're both good, bro. Like why does it have to be this like? Oh, you either like Sam Hyde or you like George Carlin. Like that's retarded. That's retarded. I think you don't get a Sam Hyde without a George Carlin at some point. You know?
No, I think all comedians are faggots. Like, if you listen to comedians, you're retarded, right? You can only accidentally stumble upon a comedian.
Maybe.
Cause like,
Actually, no,
otherwise you're
I
retarded.
disagree with that because it's like I think you get into comedy, and then like over time you start discovering more and more comedians.
No, that's like when people say I'm into comedians or like I'm fascinated with comedy. That's when you know you're talking to a fucking letard who is like, I want to travel the world. I want to take 2 gap years. I want to, I want to find some spiritual development. That's the kind of person.
I know what you're saying. I know, yeah, I know what you're saying. But like, I also think that people will like hype themselves up for watching Sam Hyde. They'll be like, yeah, he's so fucking smart. He's so like only the smartest people like it's just like, it's not that different from any of the other shit that you're talking about. Everyone's kind of the same.
Wait, okay, so I'm getting this, because this is like a Nazi ego incel, extremely online, lady drain gang Discord, alright? So I'm kind of getting a feeling that you're a normie, right?
Sure, yeah. To some degree.
So, do you agree with that?
I mean, kind of.
Okay, so name 5 websites that you went to that made an impression on you.
Fucking, I mean, Newgrounds was like my shit growing up. Newgrounds, bunch of porn. I don't know, fucking, I play League.
Yeah, bro, you're a total fucking normie, right? Alright, are you at least rich?
I wouldn't say so.
It's over, bro. It's over for you. You need to rope max.
No. Rope max as in like shoot ropes?
It's like you're not gonna make it, bro.
I'm out.
But we're all gonna make it.
No.
Going down a sentry.
Yeah, so, yeah, basic advice. Oh, wait. So, yeah, back to Dostoevsky. Yeah, Crime and Punishment is a faggot lit shit. Don't read that. Because, like, the only reason why it was written is because Dostoevsky urgently needed money, and they paid him per page. So he needed to shit out
Oh, that,
the
yeah,
most
that
amount of
explains
pages
quite a bit,
possible.
actually.
Yeah, so it's just bullshit. It's like a bullshit book. You don't have to read it, alright? He just, if someone would fucking right now put a gun to your head and said you need to write a book that'll be per page, alright? And you write it. And then some pretentious faggots would say, oh, it's good for you, you should read it, because it's Dostoevsky. Yeah.
I know, I think there's more than that going on. I think this is like a bad faith argument.
What do you mean? I've read Crime and Punishment, it's shit.
I understand that you've read it, but like for you to be like there's nothing of value to be gained from reading it is ridiculous.
Okay, what do you actually
Like
mean?
two things can be true at once, no? Yes or no?
Well, I think
It can be written. It can have been written because he needed money, and
yes, that is correct.
also like have something of value.
Yes, the reason why it's shit is not because he needed money. That explains why it's shit.
Okay.
So why it's shit? Here's the argument. Any work of art or piece of literature or anything, I value in 3 scales. Number 1, how beautiful it is, artistically pleasing. Number 2, or aesthetically pleasing. Number 2, what context it serves. So basically, if you're Russian and you haven't read some books, then people will try to communicate and you will not understand them based on the context. That's why it's important to read some books or watch some movies. For example, if you haven't watched Joker,
Like to learn more about the culture is what you're saying.
to learn more about the world in which you are living. Like if some movie or a book is super influential, you need to read about it just to understand what some people are up to, right?
Sure. Which is culture, but yeah.
Yeah, cultural context. So for example, like the movie The Joker, like it might not be the best movie, but it's like the most movie out there, so you need to watch it, even if it's not good in itself. So, and the 3rd scale is does it has a good effect on you? Does it has a good message? Does it has any useful information in it?
Okay, so hold on. I understand what you're saying. Let me tell you why I enjoy it, okay? Or like
yeah,
one thing
wait,
that
I
feel
didn't
about it.
finish.
I haven't finished it. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I didn't finish it, so I will not spoil it to you, obviously. So the 3rd scale is whether it has a good message or are there any useful in the most common sense.
Sure.
Are there any useful ideas inside it, or is it destructive? Are there destructive ideas inside it? Because even if you read something that is destructive, it will subconsciously affect you and will make you a worse person, and it will be bad for you. So yeah, on all 3 of those scales, crime and punishment rates as shit. It is not aesthetically pleasing at all. It is like it has dog shit writing, and it talks about the ugliest people and the ugliest stuff possible, right? Number 2, it like poverty and stuff. Number 2, it has no. If you are a Westerner, it has no cultural context. Right? It's like that's only faggot.
Sure, but I'm not fully like I'm not fully white. I'm Armenian and I'm
you're
just
Armenian.
like yeah. So I am just like
wait a second. Do Armenians not consider themselves white? What?
bro. I hate having this conversation because it feels different with every like other person. A bunch of people call me brown. Some retards like to be like, oh, you're Asian because Armenia is geographically in Asia. And then other people are like, oh, you're obviously white. It's like,
so
everyone has their own opinion on this. It's really annoying.
When I was in middle school, I once beat up an Armenian kid because I called him piss-covered shitskin.
Nice, okay.
But
Badass, man.
no, I think it was not good. Like, then I hopped on TikTok and I watched Marmar Binky and I discovered that Marmar is Armenian. So, yeah, Armenians,
Marmar.
they can be accepted into the Aryan Gartha or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty fucking solid.
I
consider. Listen, if you want to know what I think we are, I consider us like mountain whites. Like, I really don't think we're that different from.
Yeah, like Mexicans.
What is
basically.
it? No, not Mexican. Fucking like why are we like phenotypically even that different? Why would you consider us phenotypically different from like Russians or whatever?
I think it's because Armenian mixed with the Persians, right? When they were under Persian.
Okay. Well, hold on. So you're talking about a specific sect of Armenians, which I personally don't even really claim them. I don't like them that much.
I think that Armenians mixed with Persians and Turks. And Turks themselves, well, if you think who Turks are, most Turks are Romans, right? But they mixed with Arabs and blacks. Yeah.
I'm out.
I mean, basically, whenever whenever Arabs conquered the Eastern Roman Empire, they came and they just replaced all the ruling class, and the common people remained the same. So basically, and they called themselves Romans. So that's why And the reason why they are darker is because they mixed with
You will never destroy
Arabs
our
and
wasteland.
blacks, Africans.
I feel like I don't remember hearing anything about that, but I'll take your word for it, I guess.
Quit.
Whatever. I mean, it's alright to be an Armenian. Like, you could have been born an Indian. Could have been worse.
Yep, that's very true, my friend. And, I mean, outside of all that nonsense, like, we're, considering like the size and population of Armenia, like, with the amount of, like, success that the people have had, it's, like, pretty fucking cool. I'm pretty happy to be Armenian. We have a good, we're a good lot.
Armenians, you know, Armenians, they are kind of like Jews if Jews were not evil.
Yes, no. It's very funny that you say that because I completely agree. And I'll make this comparison all the time. I'm like, bro, the Jews, like,
yeah, me too. Exactly.
Yeah. The Jews, like, really, like, didn't need to be, like, as obnoxious as they are. Like, they do most of this shit to themselves.
Yeah, like people always say that the Jews have developed this survival tribal instinct because of they are like an international scattered people. But I constantly say, like, there are people like Kurds and Armenians who are scattered too, and they're not evil.
They're not annoying. Yeah, we don't like go out asking for handouts like fucking blacks or the Jews, like, crying about, like, like we're literally, the Armenians quite literally only ask to be, like, to have our shit recognized. Like, hey, by the way, this happened.
Yeah.
Like, we like get it out, like, on our own.
Yeah,
People, so.
Armenians are great. Like, I have a bunch of Armenians at the university that I went to, and they're all good.
You know what the thing is, though? The thing that fucking sucks is Armenians are, like, weird to each other. So, like Arabs and Jews, like, in universities will, like, stick together and, like, help each other, like, cheat and whatever the fuck, like, or, like, even just study to get ahead, right? Armenians will be very competitive with one another, and it's like, it's bad. It's like good to be competitive, but to not, like, help each other out is, like, stupid.
Or whatever, like, anyone could make that case for themselves, I think.
That's empty.
Maybe, but, like, I think it's, like, a particularly, like, weird thing where, not that we, like, cannibalize each other, but it's like people, I don't know, we're not as, like, for how much importance is placed on community within the culture, it's, like, weird how little we help each other out, I think.
Alright, so what were you saying about crime and punishment?
Oh, right, so, I mean, look, I think as a writer, Dostoevsky's, like, he's, like, the value I have gained out of it so far, because I just started the second book.
Oh, I assume you're reading it in English.
Yes, yeah. I don't speak Russian or read, but although I do want to learn. But I think he writes in such a, like, I like how casual. I like the basic, like, dialogue between characters. It's nice. It feels very, like, I guess if you want to talk about aesthetics, that's what I find aesthetically, like, pleasing. I enjoy when people can capture, like, ordinary behavior in media. It's, like, very interesting to me.
Well, what would you say are examples of ordinary behavior?
Just basic, like, interactions with, like, family and shit.
Wait, how long have you read into?
Book 2. So I think he's, like, just getting out of, like, his sickness in bed, but he fell back into it, and I'll say this: the book most certainly drags. The beginning of it was like a slog.
So yeah, like, the book, the question of the book is basically whether murder can be justified or not, right?
Is that the question?
I mean, the book is about murder, right?
It's about murder, sure, but I think like I felt like it was more about like, oh, can like someone was it compartmentalize like this the you know an act like that, like an evil act. Because he the whole time Raskolnikov's been trying to like just like he's like, oh, I'm fine. I was able to do this, and it's like it's not affecting me. I'm chill. And then like obviously you just like see it fucking with him more and more.
Honestly, I think the representation of murder in media is fake, because like it's commonly presented as if like when people murder someone, they will just go, I just murdered something. Oh my god, that's
Sure.
What am I gonna do? I think in reality, when people murder, they just like do it and then forget about it in like a week. I think if I would murder anyone, I just wouldn't care that much. Not that I'm insane, but yeah, I think it's just a myth created by the media.
Okay, if you like in traditional like Hollywood shit, sure, but I felt like Crime and Punishment's version take on it was pretty like down to earth, right? Like the guy, or I mean comparatively, I guess.
Yeah, didn't he just see it about murdering someone
Didn't he
for
see
like
it, you're
100
saying?
pages?
Well,
I mean, he was.
He was pretty like, you know, whatever about it, but then he physically was just kind of like ill, because the whole point to me is that like living a lie is like bad for you. That was like, it was less about the murder, more about like having to lie to everyone close to him, because it fundamentally kind of like, I don't know, he can't relate to people as much
Mission coordinates locked.
because he's like constantly holding this secret in, which like,
Yeah, I think.
do you think that's
Like-
unrealistic?
No, I think a modern take would be on that is like the main character is a beta cuck male. It's like a beta cuck male versus a sigma male.
Well, yeah, because Raskolnikov was a fucking loser. Yeah, he's like a retard.
So like he has a friend here there, like a student who would
Yeah.
always be optimistic and hardworking. That's as a sigma male. So
Right,
you have
yeah.
and there's like another character, the person that marries his sister. That's a sigma
Yeah.
too, I think.
Maybe
Well,
I
that's
haven't gone far
maybe
enough
that's not
to.
female.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, Raskolnikov is definitely like a fucking autist, like retard. Which it's just funny to me. Like, see, like the book was also just funny, which is the same thing with Brothers Karamazov. The father was fucking hilarious. Almost like every scene with him, I was fucking on the floor laughing.
Well, the idea is basically this: is that
Orbit
well,
synchronized.
Dostoevsky was a Christian, right? And everyone was Christian at that time. So, according to Christianity, you cannot murder people, right? Now, then there comes a question. For example, if a soldier murders, let's say, if someone breaks into your house and
Yeah,
tries
he's like
to
self-defense.
murder you,
Castle.
would you do that? That's the question to you. I mean, you're Armenian. Are you Christian?
Yeah.
So if a person would come to your house and try to kill you, will you defend yourself, even if that meant killing
Yeah.
that person?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, but doesn't God command you not to kill people?
Yeah, and that's probably one of the. I mean, I think the Christian. I won't sit here and say I'm the most Christian, but I think the Christian argument is that. What is it? You know, where Christ died for us. There's like. You know, he's the reason that we end up being forgiven for the sins.
Yeah,
And maybe there's like a scale or something where it's like, okay, this is you know how willingly evil that you're being, and in a self-defense scenario, it's like, oh, you're kind of more acting on like instinct rather than like, you know, consciously going out of your way to like take life from someone. Like there's more and less like innocent ways, and hold on, and if you're a soldier in a war, that's also a more innocent version of killing than. Because it's like you can just say like, yeah, I kind of was just doing what I was commanded to do by someone like higher up than me, which isn't the best argument, but I mean it is still different from.
well, it's obviously different from just straight up murdering someone. But
Yeah.
again, I'm asking you, if someone came to your house and you had a choice of not retaliating and
I'm fucking killing them, bro. I'm blasting their ass. If they're on my property when they're not supposed to be there, I might blast their ass.
Why would you do that?
Cause fuck them. Like, who the fuck are they?
Well, so if you are a Christian, then you believe that God is all powerful, right? And you also believe that you should not sin at any cost. So sinning is immoral. Then you should not sin. Then why would you?
Because you have a moral duty to like those that you care about, right? Like if there's some freak fucking on my doorstep doing whatever the fuck, like threatening to like hurt my family, I'm of course gonna take preventative measures from letting them get hurt.
Yeah, but God is all powerful, and God is also all good. So that means if God allowed that to happen, that would be
okay. So this is like a really,
A taste of freedom.
I feel like this is like that's a surface level take on like those two concepts. Like I understand what you're saying, but also like there's the the issue of the problem of free will, correct? Because also God gave everyone free will.
Yeah, but so God does not want you to sin at any situation, right? No,
But he also knows that he also knows that we'll fall short.
Like that is not a surface level take because I researched that topic and there are like several nuances about it. But again, yeah, and I have not found anyone who would give me a more elaborate answer to defend the other position, but the opposite position of mine. So again, if God is all powerful and all kind, then and God does not wants us to sin. So obviously, it is written in Romans that we should not do evil for good, right? So then,
Never destroy our way.
if someone would, again, in a war, let's say,
Sending in an eagle.
you would murder someone, that would be bad. Why would you do that? That's very simple.
Well, because we are worldly beings and we come up with our own justifications for it. Like it may be against God's will, but we're also not like perfect, and He knows that.
Okay, so what would be the perfect act? What would be the moral act?
The perfect and moral act is, you know, turn the other cheek, become like a pacifist, and you know, try to do like a non-violent protest or whatever. You know, try to start a non-violent like cause to end the war and whatever, right? That's like what you're asking is like, what would Christ do?
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is that the way you would act would be immoral, but you're basically like a devil's cock, and you expect to be forgiven.
No, you're just human.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that means like you're. I mean, maybe to God you're the devil's cuck or whatever, but
no, God is not the devil's cock. That's not a Christian position.
no, I'm
'cause
saying to God, like God would think of you as a devil's cuck for behaving in that way.
No, God would never. According to Christianity, God is all forgiving, so He would never think about you that
Orbital
way.
inbound.
Yeah. So okay, why are you saying you're the devil's cuck then? If you behave
Because
that
you're
way?
saying
That's a judgment that you're applying to it. No.
I'm asking you as a Christian, what would be the perfect situation for you to do in that situation? You're saying
Yeah, to do what
good
Christ would
thing.
do, and like that, which I don't know the answer to that. I'm not. I already told you I'm not the perfect Christian. I'm not the most saintly Christian myself. So if you want the answer to this question, ask a priest, man. I don't fucking know.
No. Before that, I would ask you what you would do, and you would say, I would kill the person.
I'm not the like a moral. I'm not the most moral person, dude. Like
Yeah, but
are
you
you
call
talking about a
yourself
war or
Christian.
someone fucking stepping on like my property and shit?
Yeah, but you like call yourself Christian, right?
Sure, but I also care about those around me a lot more than I care about upholding like this like pacifistic value. I think that what is it? You're like an evil, even less moral person if you let those around you get hurt. And that could be just my worldly view of things, but I'm limited in like how I can think. I'm like flawed.
But
I'm a flawed person.
You've just said that the morally perfect thing would be the path of non-violence.
Yeah, but there's
Even
like
in
a
the face
particular way
of
you have to
everything.
do that. Like, what? So, do you think as a Christian I should just be like willing to, you know, kill myself for like for whatever cause, even if I'm not like properly like you know, fighting for that cause?
If you assume that it is the morally perfect thing, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not that devoted, I guess.
So it's basically you recognize that thing as being morally perfect, but you're saying, okay,
Requesting
I'm not going to act in a moral way, I'm not going to even try.
Not on that level, no. I think there's other ways that you can behave morally that are like acceptable. I mean, what about you yourself? Are you agnostic? Are you?
I am a Christian, but I have another position I'm about to elaborate. But
Yeah,
here,
I'd love to hear it.
you know the verse where Jesus says, I never knew you?
Found something.
No.
Apart from me, I never knew
He
you.
says, not, this is a quote from Jesus. Not everyone, it's one of my favorite quotes in the Bible. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, oh Lord, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father will be in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, he says about the day of judgment. Many will say to me, preach to God, in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? Have we not cast out demons in your name? Have we not done many wonders in your name? Then I will declare to them, I never knew you, depart from me, you who practice lawlessness.
Damn. I don't think I've heard that, bro. That's crazy.
Sending in an eagle.
They'll
Yeah.
be gnashing their teeth.
Found something. Affirmative.
So what's your take on it? Like, what are you supposed to do?
Now let me, because like in Russian it's more powerful, so I'll read the full verse.
Extraction is available.
Sentry.
Therefore, whoever hears, here's what the Jesus says. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them,
Does the will of my Father.
what?
Found something!
Yeah, but is that in relation to doing the Ten Commandments or just believing in it?
Heavy, northwest,
Like that.
50 meters.
That's in general. That's the whole purpose of Jesus' sermons. So, therefore, whoever hears the sayings of mine, I will liken him to be a wise man. But everyone who hears the sayings of mine and does not do them will be a foolish man who built his house on the sand, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and the beat on the house, it fell, and great was its fall. So, yeah, and then Jesus says that whenever the judgment day comes, he will call the angels to smite all the unbelievers and those who have heard but decided to not follow him. And he also says that the gate of heaven is very, very wide, but the path to kingdom, the gate to hell, I mean, the gate to hell is very, very wide, but the path to heaven is very narrow, and only the very, very few will attain it. So yeah, my take on it is this. First of all, I think that the ends justify the means, basically.
Okay.
Is that, first of all, God, I have two logical arguments in the form of syllogism. First of all, God is morally perfect. That's the first assumption, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Second of all, in the Old Testament, we can see that sometimes God acts in a way that does not necessarily means
Dropping package.
a love, right?
So real quick, I just wanna make this point, or just like to establish this. I mean, I'm sure we can agree on this much that it's like we're limited in our capacity to understand God's actions, correct?
Yeah.
So there's always going to be, at least for like me, there's always going to be a piece of like, okay, like the things that we see God doing, like trying to use certain things within like the Old Testament, it's like it's hard for me to like.
Oh, I'm not gonna use the Old Testament then. I'm just saying that sometimes God acts in a way that is not directly depicts love. For example, when Jesus smites the, you know, the story of there's a grass which he makes go fail.
What? What do you mean?
So basically, Jesus works with his pupils, and there's a grass which he wants the fruits of. He asks for the fruits to come, but the fruits don't come. So he makes the grass go dead instantly. And he
Wait, why
uses
did you do that? I'm sorry, I cut out there for a sec.
Well, wait.
He killed the grass. Why?
I mean, not the grass. What's the, like, what do you call a small tree?
A small tree?
A sapling. A seedling.
A bush. A bush. You call that a bush.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, so Jesus sees a bush and he asks for fruits from the bush, but the bush does not deliver, so he curses the bush to die. And then he uses that as an example for Israel. That's basically what happened to Israel.
You mean the olive
Was a
tree?
bush that needed to give fruits, but
Or the grapevine?
it didn't give fruits. So he curses the Jews.
Or the fig tree?
But, yeah, the fig tree. So why would Jesus do that if he commands love to everyone and we assume everything? Because it served a higher purpose. In the same way, whenever Jesus comes to the temple and says to the Jews who are selling the crap there, and like he makes them go away in a, I would say, violent way. That's too less. Or when God smites people. For example, like sent Jesus, who is God, to like God decided to go on a cross willingly. Isn't that suicide? So basically, God makes some acts which are in themselves are not seem good, but they are good in the sense that they have a good intention and they result in good, because God is ultimately wise and he knows which acts would come to which. That's the
and that's only because he's like, what is it, omniscient as well, right? Like the thing is, it's like I feel like people will take this and be like, oh, because you know God knows what to do, or God does what's good in the long run. Like I should be able to also behave in this way, which is retarded because it's like you don't know for certain what you're doing is like the right action.
Well, but so here are two arguments. Number one argument is so God is morally perfect. Number one, and God sometimes does things that seem on the surface complex, right? Or whatever you would call
immoral,
it.
yeah.
Therefore, sometimes it is morally perfect to sometimes do things that are complex. So it is not only allowed to do them, it is necessary to do them.
Sure. Because the morally perfect being does it himself, yeah.
Yeah, that's... So for example, if you are in a complex situation where you have to do something that might seem not good in itself, sometimes
if my kid is acting
necessary.
up and I gotta fucking spank him or some shit.
Democracy conquers all.
So, and the second argument that I have is, well, it's within the Orthodox Church, because I use it to debate Orthodox Christians. Or it can also be used against Catholics.
Are you Orthodox yourself, or...?
Yes, I'm Orthodox.
Okay.
I'm Orthodox Christian. So basically, we know that many of Orthodox Christian saints were warriors, such as Alexander Nevsky.
Oh, base. Okay.
So if the church canonized them as saints, therefore their actions were justified as a morally example. So a person who would argue that you should be non-violent at any case would have to not argue with me, but with the entire church. that we know will not go to, like, the church will not fall against like, the person would just need to basically say that the entire church is heretical. Right?
Well, yeah. Because if they're saying that, oh, you can't be violent ever, it's like they're saying they know greater than the church or whatever.
Yeah, then the entire history of the church. That's the second argument that I use. So, but back to the simple soldier case. Like,
Sure.
you would think that. So, knowing that God is all powerful and all good, why would it be moral? Why could it be moral for a person to act in a violent way? Only if. Yeah, and the third, like, there are also biblical arguments. The counter argument would be Paul's sermons, where Paul asks not to do evil for good. And my answer to that is that is not the universal norm, that is contextual. But you have to know Romans to do that. And the also argument is Jesus encounters soldiers, but he does not condemn them for being soldiers, because they have their duty, right? And soldiers' jobs is to kill people. He only condemns sin. So yeah, back to the following. The reason, yeah, so basically you should view something not as a, if you were helpless, if you had no power, then you should, when acting, or like not in a non-violent way is not sinful, right? So it's a morally perfect way. But if you are powerful, and if you know what will happen with your mind, then you should view the situation as a test from God.
I see, yeah.
The Illuminate want to control us. To stay free, you must destroy them.
So basically,
Something here.
God would not help you because he expects you to do the right way. It's like passing the exam. You have to pick the right option.
Yeah, but that's...
Requesting sentry.
But then, okay, then there's a bit of an assumption of like capability, right? Where it's like oh, I'm able to distinct, like I'm intelligent enough to truly understand what's going on here or whatever. And maybe you are, maybe, but then there's also, isn't there also the there's the off chance that you're just like it's like your ego talking or whatever, right? Like,
yes.
Like,
so
let's say Hitler or some shit, right? Like, I don't know if he did use religion to justify his actions, but and I want to hear what you think. Do you think his actions were justified?
Well, let's get back.
He went about things the right way.
Let's get back to the other things first.
Sure.
In the simple self-defense case scenario, you would fear, for example, that you would mistake the assault for like some person knocking on your door, right? So like you have imperfect knowledge and you can commit sin, like you can attack someone who is innocent,
sure.
Or you can do some wrongdoings based on your incompetence. My answer to that, well, first of all, that does not prevent anything from happening, like that doesn't mean anything, firstly, and secondly, that just has risk in it, and human actions always have risk in it.
Of course, yeah. Why do you say it doesn't mean anything? Like you're saying it's a nothing statement because everything we do is like has risk to it, that we could be wrong.
Yeah. Therefore, like it does not has any specific meaning to this situation. So like, it's like saying, what if I open a door, but the door has a grenade tied to it, and therefore, like the grenade will explode and kill everyone, and I will unwillingly kill everyone. Will that be a sin or not? Well, obviously that is outside of my scope. That's the first answer.
Yeah. Well,
the second answer, but this is the insignificant answer. Here's the more significant answer, the most important answer, is that a person who is in a position to make the decision has not only the moral obligation to sometimes commit things that seem on the surface sinful or violent or in other way. He also has a moral obligation to be the most competent and most powerful possible. So basically, if you're like sitting and doing nothing while you're in a position of power or in potential to be in a position of power,
Yeah, that's
then you're committing sin in that way.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my position. My position is the ends justify the means. It is the intention that matters, first of all. And second of all...
Yeah, you're meant. I mean, that's why like sloth is like a sin, right? Like you're meant to be like the best version of yourself, whatever. So that like if the situation comes where you need to do something, you can.
It specifically applies to people who are in power.
Sure. Okay.
So like a father of the family has a more responsibility to be competent, or like a leader of a country has more moral responsibility to be competent than, let's say, a retarded kid, or like a girl. Like, because girls don't make any decisions. So yeah, back to Hitler. Well, first of all, because it's illegal in Russia to discuss that, I will not elaborate my positions on it.
Really?
But like, if you were, well, I think basically, you know, the Red Cross statistic.
Wait, say it again. I'm sorry.
You know the Red Cross statistic.
Statistic? No.
Well, so basically, let's just say that they did not bake the cookies, and like the cookies that got baked were only baked because they were not only cookies but also chocolates and stuff there.
You're saying okay, so this is the argument that it's like it wasn't, was it like 5 million or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, because the Red Cross, which was an independent source, reported that it was not that, first of all. Second of all, so the thing that the Jews make is all fake. That's first. Second of all, well, how do I judge Hitler personally? Well, he had a hard life, you know? So I think it's impressive and inspiring. That's what I think.
Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. I can't really agree on that one.
Well, let me elaborate it in more specific terms. The two main problems of our time are that humans face. First of all, the replacement of indigenous European people by third world migration. That's the first problem. And the second problem is, and the following of this is the total collapse of all European societies and of civilization. Basically, if you replace all Europeans with Indians and niggers, there will be no civilization. There will be only worldwide India, and that is bad. The second problem that we face.
Okay. So hold on. So even if I agree with this, right? Why, like, my thing is why would he?
Mag's empty. No mag.
I think someone in his position could have the better judgment if he himself was a Christian, to know that there would be like better ways of addressing it, right? Like, why the ethnic cleansing? Why not just kick him out like everyone else did?
That's what everyone thought. But then, have you seen the World Jewry declares war on Germany in the Washington Post?
No.
So basically, here's a brief history of World War II. Red Pill 101. Do you know the history of World War I?
Probably not. Go ahead and explain.
Okay, so World War I started this way. First of all, relations between Britain, Russia, France, and Germany were strained from the Crimean War and the Napoleonic Wars. Do you know the Crimean War?
No, Crimean War I'm not familiar with.
It was the biggest Russia-Turkish war of all time, and basically Russians expected to take control of Constantinople and become the dominant power forever and the world empire. And the British and the French decided not to allow that, so they aided the Turks.
Cringe, holy fucking cringe.
Yeah, so British and French waged war against Russia, and that was not well received in Russian society, and it ended in a stalemate or a Russian defeat, but not that much. So yeah, that was in the late 19th century. Then at the start of the 20th century, here's what happened. Some Serb killed an Austrian monarch, so Germany decided to pursue vengeance on Serbia, which is Orthodox Christian, and Russia decided not to allow that. Then Germany declared mobilization, and they made an ultimatum to Russia. Do not declare mobilization or we will declare war. Russia declared mobilization and Germany declared war on Russia. That was World War I. But you would think, why would Germany declare war on Russia? Or why would the war start? It was because in Germany, back in the early 20th century, people had no idea that there could be a situation where there would be enough food and not enough reproduction. That was not possible for them, right? So basically, people thought that the only limiting factor to population was medicine and food, right?
Okay.
And countries at the time had their populations limited by food production because there was a limited amount of land. And with the agricultural technology developing, all the countries had a rapid population growth. So it was believed that the countries that had more land and more fertile land, they would basically dominate the countries that have no land forever. So for example, Russia, because Russia has lots of land, it would have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people, have like 10 billion people. And they would all economically and culturally and politically dominate all the countries that have no people, like Germany, because Germany did not have any land. So basically, Germans expected that the French, the British, and the Russians would so powerfully dominate them with the new agricultural and medical technology that they will basically fade into insignificance. That's where the idea of Lebensraum comes from. So they saw this.
So it's like a self-defense or like a
Lebensraum means living space. That's what it means. So they basically saw this First World War as their last chance to exist, to get enough land to exist, because otherwise they would be basically wiped off the world. Yeah, that's how World War I started. Then the Germany got a humiliating defeat, and it was completely ravaged and raped. And there was a humiliating peace, and Germany became a world capital for degeneracy. For example, they pioneered, the first transgender operations were pioneered in Germany after World War I. There was also rampant prostitution, drug trade, there were very liberal laws on drugs and stuff like that. And meanwhile, when in World War I, the Germans would send communists in Russia to have a revolution to decapitate Russia. So they succeeded.
They were like, yeah.
So Russia gave up all their pretenses to Germany in their winning peace, right? They had a separate peace apart from everyone. So the winning coalition, which consisted of Russia, Britain, and French, they had a winning peace where they totally raped Germany, but Russia had a separate peace where they did not get anything, because they had a German communist Jew installed government. So there was a strong line in Germany at the time that basically the Jewish bankers that held all the wealth in Germany acted, they all benefited from the war, but the Germany got raped. So there was a grudge of the people against the Jewish bankers. That's how Nazis came to power. On top of rampant degeneracy and the Jews betraying the population.
For their own gain, right?
Yeah. So then you read the biography of Hitler, or like the Mein Kampf, or rather like you can read the secular biography, or you can read his autobiography, Mein Kampf, which is edited, of course. Like, I don't believe that it's 100% true. But because it was written for public appearance, obviously. But then like you can understand how someone like Hitler could come to power, right? Because people were violently anti-Semitic. He was a World War I veteran who fought for his country. He was a international German patriot. He was from Austria, but he wanted one state for all German people. And he hated the Austrian monarchy because Austrian monarchy betrayed. It was not nationally interested. So yeah. Then how World War II started is basically whenever Nazis came to power, Jews worldwide would attack them. That's it. That's how World War II started. So back to the ethnic cleansing. Well, initially, the Zionist project was part of a Nazi plan. They planned to basically create a state for all the Jews and send them there forcibly. To expel them, all of them there. But then World War II started, so they had to improvise. And we don't really know what happened there. Let's just say it that way. Because we know the long history of Jews fabricating stuff, so it would not be wise to believe all that stuff. That's my opinion shortly. But if you were to believe the Red Cross statistic during World War II, Red Cross is an international organization of volunteers who repeated on the death rate in so-called death camps. And the death rate in so-called death camps was at the same level as any other war camp during that time, or concentration camp.
Okay, so you think it's that? Yeah. So you're saying it's exaggerated, but like it did happen, but just like not.
Well, they were not death camps.
Not significantly.
They were just concentration camps that had the same problems that all concentration camps have, like breaking supply chains and stuff.
Allied destroyer joining squadron, deploying
Okay.
combat zone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not educated enough on this topic to say one way or the other.
Going down a support weapon.
Motherfucker.
Requesting sentry.
Okay, how it feels to be 26? Are you still an incel?
Yes, I'm a monk.
Are you a 26-year-old incel? Oh no, bro.
I'm a rice cell.
Point me to the enemy.
Are you Asian?
Yes.
You sell rice, man?
Yeah.
Wait, how tall are you?
5'8".
Yeah, he's sober.
It's 100% over, bro.
It was over for me a second ago, dude. Don't worry.
Okay, do you at least have a house?
I've got a farm.
Farm?
Yeah.
Did you get it from your parents, or did you like buy it?
I bought it.
How much did you pay for it?
3 million.
Calling down a sentry.
But the interest
What?
rate's like $13,000 a month. Pretty fucked.
Wait, did you loan it?
Possibly.
How did you get a 3 million loan if you earn 40k a year?
Good question.
No interest.
I don't know, I think you're trolling, mate. No, honestly.
It's co-signed, but obviously I'm not the only one.
Requesting sentry.
No, because like... Alright.
Requesting sentry.
I think I would never get a loan, ever.
Sell everything and move to Bali.
In this day and age, you kind of have to, man.
No, I would never get raped. I would rather live in the fucking streets. I would rather become a fucking monk. I would be the... because, you know, like, I know all the fucking history, and I know, like, quantum physics and engineering. I would be the enlightened fucking dumb dude. I would randomly fucking approach people and give them fucking life advice. Okay, at 26 at least, which PC do you own?
I've got a RX 3080 with a 3900. AMD 3900.
Why would you buy that?
I got the
What do you play?
I'm playing Helldivers right now.
I mean, the graphics look pretty shit to me. It's like 2015.
It's quite a AIDS.
Calling in reinforcements.
Which part of Russia are you from?
Moscow.
Oh, no shit. Dude, I dated a girl from fucking Moscow. She was fully Armenian. She was such a bitch, dude. Are all the Russian girls like that? Like very materialistic in Moscow?
Yeah, because like, I mean, compared to the rest of Russia, it's pretty...
It's rich, yeah.
Yeah. So like, girls from the rest of Russia, they would settle for less, obviously.
So if I were to pass my bro into Russia, where should I go?
True question. That's actually a great question.
Well, the
Where
thing
the
is,
fuck is girls?
Siberia?
the thing is that like 80% of Russian people don't know any English, so they are like retarded cattle, right?
Right.
So like imagine yourself the worst normie droid you can meet in Australia, but it would be worse, and she would not be.
Why are normies so bad to you, man? The fuck is this?
Dude, that's why you gotta help us bag fatty.
Calling in orbital strike.
Okay, so
I want a nice little normie girl. You can fucking make them.
I think we're all incels in this chat except for
Well,
you. So
the only type of girls I'd go for are Macedonians because they own the construction industry around here.
Greeks?
Nah, Macedonian.
why Macedonian?
Because they currently like run the construction industry and like easily make yourself rich. They
So
say
dead.
they go for the Indian. Well, the Indians are like, you know, migrant slave labor, but the ones who are like really in like, control are the Monkeydonians.
Honestly, like if you think right now, I think that if you would ever geomax anywhere in the world right now,
Well, GMX is a bit
Russia,
of a but
what?
because you can still be like a short self, but geomaxing is still hard.
Well, the point is that
Orbital.
the whole flotation is bad in some places and better in other places, right? Obviously.
Yeah,
So even regardless of your appearance, you would be better in some places than other places because you would get more for less.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I
Math
think
checks
right
out.
now,
Math is mathing.
I think right now that Slavic countries are literally the best place in the world to geomax.
Well, say that to Germany.
What do you mean? You think Germany is a good place to geomax?
That's where all the Turks go.
Yeah, but they all earn a lot of money, first of all, and second of all, they're all Turks there, so how would you meet a German girl there?
True.
Marking location.
In Russia, everyone is a poor nigger, and everyone, like, you can find an Aryan wife here, right? It's like very easy. And even if anyone is not a poor nigger, everyone is surrounded by poor niggers. So you kinda assume that that is normal. So whenever you meet a wealthy person, that is good. That is like, even if you're wealthy in Russia, if a wealthy person approaches you, I mean wealthy compared to Russia, that's like an average income in any normal country, then they would have, I mean, you get that.
Requesting sentry.
That's why Russia is the best place to geomax right now. But I think as time goes...
Wait, what are you calling it? Geomax? Is that the word?
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that. Which parts of Russia, though?
There was this
The thing is, I would ask, because like, okay, I'm an incel in Russia, so even in the best placed geomax in the world, I'm not fucking getting anything.
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal. So the thing is, there are two things. First of all, here's how I would do that as a Westerner. First of all, I would assume whether or not you can learn Russian language pretty well. Because unlike English, Russian with accent sounds dog shit. So no one would ever... But like, you instantly lose infinite aura if you speak Russian with accent.
Damn, really? Fuck, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, like, I would say that I don't know a single person, a single foreigner who learned Russian and is successful with it.
Yeah. No, I've heard it's very fucking difficult. Just to even learn it normally, but to learn it with the
it's not even that. It's because like everyone in Russia is the biggest country in the world, right? But everyone in Russia speaks the exact same version of Russian. I don't know why. Is there no accents like in English or in any other language?
Well, there's Georgian and...
Yeah, like whenever Churkas, or like the Asian dudes, like the Armenians, basically.
Alright.
So whenever Armenians who speak Russian as their native language would come to Moscow, everyone would instantly shit on them for their pronunciation. Because it's not even Russian, it's like dog shit, it's like barking.
You say Armenians or Romanians?
Armenians. So basically
I'm pretty
like...
sure there are... Okay, if you're talking about a specific time, maybe, but like, I feel like generally speaking, Armenians are pretty like integrated into Russian society.
I mean, it depends on like, there are Armenians that speak Russian normally, but some Armenians who live like in Armenia and they would not learn language. Well, they would. So basically, whenever you see Armenian accent, that is dog shit. That is not fucking feasible. You would not get hired anywhere, right? No one would fucking hire anyone with any accent. And like, no one would. It would be very hard to find friends or girlfriends with people who speak only Russian. So yeah, I will first assess whether or not you can learn Russian, and if you're not 10 years old, it's probably over for you.
Yeah.
So then, your only option are girls in Russia who know English or some other language, right?
Which I feel like there's a decent amount, no?
Yeah, but it's a very small percentage. So
really?
You would have to meet them online then. Or you'd have to like go on some program in Russia where they teach Russians some language. So like, let's say there would be a language club in Russia where they would practice Armenian or English, and you would basically come there as like an American practicer, and you would get approached by Russian girls. That would be a good way.
You gotta be like an English professor in Russia or some shit.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York, but I live in Cali right now.
No, you don't have to be a professor, you just have to be a normal fucking person. Like any person.
Okay, yeah, just, or whatever, a teacher, right?
Yeah, like you finish some one month online course, what?
I said like the position you're taking, like if I were to do that is like some type of like teacher, correct?
Yeah, you don't even have to be a job. Like there are just interest clubs in that, and that's like what normally women do.
Oh, okay.
So you would meet like 20 plus years old normally women.
Wait, that's like perfect. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean that's the route that I would take if I was a foreigner. I would first of all I would go online and I would try to meet places where people from Russia would speak English or some other language like Armenian.
Sure.
And then
is that like a common thing with the Armenian one? That'd be pretty fucking dope to find out that.
No, because everyone in Russia thinks that Armenia is like a second-grade country, so Russia is pretty dog shit, but Armenia compared to Russia is
worse. Yeah.
It is viewed as Russia is viewed as normal, and Armenia is viewed as dog shit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah.
But how does that explain how does that answer my question? Like, why would someone want to learn Armenian in that case?
I mean, there are some geeks in it.
I see. So it's like just people who are interested in language.
I mean, if you learn Armenian, you might as well try to capitalize on it.
Have reinforcement budget remaining.
Well, yeah, I'm just curious about like why a Russian girl would want to learn Armenian.
It would be a very, very small percentage of the population.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that'd be pretty. That'd actually be pretty fucking ideal. But
well, let's see. Here's at my university, Center of Learning Armenian Language in my university name, which is pretty elite. I study at the elite university in Moscow. It's like in top 3 of Russia.
Nice.
So let's see. There are 400 subscribers. Let's see all of them. So based on the pictures, they are all Armenians.
Okay, yeah, they're Armenians in the Armenian program. That makes sense. Yeah.
Here's a pic of them.
Yeah, we have clubs like that in like California and shit. That's the universities here. Where a bunch of Armenians there, which is kind of sitting to the inside chat.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. Because I might dox my university by doing that.
Huh?
ETA T-minus 10 seconds.
Yeah, but English obviously. You'd meet. What?
I said those girls in the picture you sent weren't looks maxed enough.
Yeah, they're not great looking. Like
that's where it's. There's some pretty fucking girls right here. I don't want to hear this. That's where I'm like kind of cooked. Is you said it's over for me. Where it's really over for me is me wanting the cream of the crop.
Countdown initiated. Stand by for
Okay, let's see. English club in Moscow. Let's see.
extraction complete. Pelican 1 beginning ascent.
God, they're ugly.
The squids will find no purchase.
I'm even uglier than them, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think I like for me specifically, it's like I would need to meet a normal Russian, like because I feel like a girl in these programs they'd just be busted.
No, they're not ugly. They're normal looking, but obviously some clubs are more trendy and more, let's say, Western oriented than others. So a trendy and fashionable and attractive and wealthy girl would go to that club. So you would go there.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Now we're talking here. Now we're talking.
But of course, like it would be harder to pull a trendy and fashionable and attractive chick than a loser chick.
Yeah, but I already know. Like, as long as they're not leveraging the whole like Russian thing too much, it's like I think I'd be fine.
So like here's what I would do. I would basically do it like this. I would come, then I would go to an English language club. Then I would meet a fashionable chick there, even if I was not able to pull her, but she would be highly interested. So I would tell it like this. I would try to befriend her, and then I would say it like this, that I would try to sell it that I will teach her English, or I will let her practice, and she will teach me Russian, right? And by doing that, I would ask her to give me a tour of Russia, because Russians are friendly. She would 100% agree to that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Which is that's such a funny like thing that people think all the Russians are mean.
So she would basically, then I would make her to introduce me to all her Russian friends, and
the cute ones, yeah. Genius tactic right here, genius.
That's how I would meet all the Russians. But if you're ugly, that'll be hard. Because like,
I mean, you can judge for
yourself. Get introduced.
Allied destroyer has left squadron.
So I'll put okay. So I'm gonna post a picture with my exes. So the first picture is gonna be me with the Armenian girl from Moscow, and then the second one is like she's like a half Armenian, half Russian girl that I met.
Okay, you're actually like Chad Light, bro.
Something like that.
But the girl, you can't judge her. She's mid. She appears to be mid.
No, she was no. She was actually pretty cute. I don't know. I liked her. The other one though, I think she was, to me, that the second girl I posted, she was like the prettiest to me. I was.
Yeah, I think you'd be able to pull a lot in Russia. I mean, if you go for light appearance, like light hair, light eyes, Russia is the best place to fish, or like Ukraine.
Really? Like light? You said light hair, light. I feel like blonde hair. I feel like those wouldn't be those the hardest to pull.
No, I mean, in Russia, well, women don't care about appearances mostly.
Yeah, they care about money.
No, they care about your general appearance. They don't care about ethnicity generally.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. Well, I imagine Armenians have like a decent.
So if you were to establish a bloodline and you wanted to be light hair and light eyed, then I would go to fish in Belarus. Probably.
Okay. Would Moscow be a bad place for me to go look for someone?
Well, it's a good place to start. It would be harder to pull than in other cities, but on the other hand, there will be more options because there are a lot of people there,
and they're probably more Americanized or whatever. But I don't know if I want that. I think I want like someone with more like ethnic values and shit.
Ethnic values are not a thing.
I don't know, more however you want to fucking say it, man.
Okay, wait. So another question to the Australian dude: how many friends do you have in real life? Oh, he went AFK, judging by his stream.
8.
Wait, are you not an incel too?
No, I'm a fake cell.
Fuck, bro, this chat is fucking getting overrun by normies.
Why are you an incel?
What? Because there were multiple contributing factors to this, I would say.
Alvarez.
Probably a fake cell. But like the three main factors, I would be this. I'm not super attractive. I'd say I'm unattractive. Then I'm
to the point where you can't like make it better, like
I'm short. I'm like 5'7". And like my face is average or worse than average. So it's pretty bad in that department. Then I'm slightly non-neurotypical. Sure. So I'm a bit weird. And then basically when I was in middle school, I won some competition and they allowed me to skip classes. So that's why in 8th and 9th grade, I just skipped all the classes in school. And when I came back in 10th grade, I was a bit of a, like, I got with the weird kids because of that.
Sure. I mean...
So those were the three main reasons.
I think you're looking for reasons, low-key, to not... like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, kind of.
No, it's just a... Being an incel is just a statement of a fact, you know. You're virgin by age 21. That's just a fact.
Dude, I was a virgin... Okay, let me ask you a question. How long do you think I was a virgin? Till? I'm 26 now.
I know, 20-something?
Huh? No, well, yeah, 20-something, but I was 23. Like, I only lost my virginity, like, 3 years ago.
Yeah, but, again... Well, that rates you. Yeah, that explains much because I assume that you don't have great wealth, and you're not great looking. So yeah. I mean, by New York standards, probably.
Well, LA standards now, but I think New York standards I'm pretty chill. LA standards are like pretty fucked though.
I don't know. In Russia, everyone who I see is ugly. Like you'd mug everyone in my
Really?
university, probably. Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Because like all attractive people leave for Western countries.
That kind of tracks. Well, it's always that's like surprising for me here, just because it's like I would imagine like I mean Russians are culturally like fairly similar to Armenians, so it's like why wouldn't they just like and maybe this is the same for Armenians, maybe they're doing the same thing, but because we're like family focused, it's like I would imagine even if they are like attractive and whatever, they would just like stay within the country to be with their family. Because why the fuck would you want to like go somewhere completely like where you're gonna be like completely isolated?
Well, it's
yeah,
very
you're gonna get
simple.
attention for your looks, but
Listen, here in Moscow, which is by far the wealthiest city in Russia, and like there's only one city like that, it's called St. Petersburg. So those are two similarly, and all other cities are worse, and some other cities are much worse.
I know there's like the
Let's see.
war stuff going on too, which probably contributes.
No, that doesn't matter at all. Like literally, life stayed exactly the same. Yeah. I mean, unless you live close to the border, then it's probably like a little bit dangerous to you.
Yeah.
Then everything else exactly the same. So here's how it looks. And also, like the only change that I noticed are like some libtards are seething about it.
Right.
So, in a construction site, which is a hard toil, and you would work all day for a day of toil with no taxes, because you don't pay taxes for that kind of job, you would earn this. $63 US.
Or what, a whole day's worth of work?
Yeah.
Jesus.
At a construction site. Then, if you work like a normal job, like a salesman, like let's say you're a salesman at a shop, you will earn like this. Like let's say you have no talent, so you're like an average salesman. You will earn $45 US.
Cool.
Yeah.
So opportunity, long story short.
That's why everyone wants to leave.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I didn't know that. I didn't know the Russian economy was so fucked. Holy shit.
I mean, I'm 21. The best thing that I've earned was, I earn $50 an hour for chess coaching, and I'm very bad at chess. And I used to earn like that is at home, and if I went there, then I earned like $30 an hour. That was the best I've earned. And like an average, like let's say you graduate and you're an average coder, you will earn like 3K USD per month after taxes.
$3K a month, so that's what, 36,000 a year. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's more actually. Maybe it's like 4K a month.
Oh. You there?
Well, it's still 5 times better than India.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
It's like about the same as Poland.
Yeah, it's like it's crazy how shit the economy is in other countries. People complain about the economy in the U.S. Holy shit.
Well, the US is like the #1 country in the world.
Yeah.
And like things in India are like 10 times better than in Africa.
What do you think about the Ukrainians?
Well, I think that, well, you know, the Jew thing, it's like...
Yeah.
So basically, if you know the brief history of Russia and Ukraine, both countries are right now Jew-run. So, yeah.
Wait, you're saying Russia currently is still Jew-run?
Yeah.
Like Russian, are those the oligarchs or whatever?
I mean, it's not the oligarchs, it's just general people in the position of powers.
Interesting, okay.
So, like, the current prime minister of Russia is a Jew. And before, the prime minister is like the main...
Jesus, that's brutal.
The main stature. And before that, there was a Jew also. And that's like just Latino.
So, I'm just confused, because Putin isn't Jewish, right?
Well, I'm not so sure about that. Because you know that Russia has a long history of Jews posing as Russians.
That doesn't surprise me. I didn't know that, but that's not
50 years later, it will be discovered that they were Jews all the time. For example, with Lenin. You know who Lenin is? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
He was Jewish by mother. That means he's what's that called? So the Jews basically have a special thing where anyone who is Jewish by mother is a true Jew, and anyone who is not is not. So you can be 1% Jewish, but if your mom is Jewish in a direct line, then you're a true Jew, like the truest Jew possible. So Lenin was that, and he changed his name, his real name, his real surname was blank, and it was not discovered until after his death.
Sure.
Same with Trotsky. Trotsky did not pose as a Jew, but he had a Russian name. And all the other Jews, they took Russian names and pretended to be Russians. So the thing, if you learn about how Putin got in power, Putin was at least his official biography is like this. He was a normal guy, like completely from a normal family, as it is said, though that is highly debatable. Then he did martial arts and did good at school and tried to get recruited by the CIA, or not the CIA, but the Russian version.
Yeah.
So he tried to become a Fed. Then he became a middle Fed. Then when he was in a university, his academic senior was Sobchak, who later became the mayor of Moscow, which was the most powerful position at that time during the Soviet Revolution. So then he went through FSB, and he later became the second in command of Sobchak. And then whenever the crisis happened, he was nominated as the temporary, basically the person that is, whenever the president suspends his, because the previous president Yeltsin was, who by the way was installed as part of the coup, orchestrated in part by the CIA. That is a public information. Because the US government gave money for Yeltsin president's election. That is just a public statement. So yeah, after Yeltsin declared himself, and the country during Yeltsin, that is important too. So when Yeltsin got in power, he made a thing called privatization, which meant that all public property, all the factories and universities, not the universities, but at least the factories and all businesses in the country, which previously belonged to the state by law, were belonging to the people. And the way it was orchestrated was that 7 richest people in the country instantly became Jewish.
Weird.
So basically, all the national wealth, which are the oil company, the natural resources, the factories, the steel production, all the biggest industries instantly became owned by the Jews in a way that was not, well, let's just say the people who were orchestrating the reforms were Jewish, and the people who got all the money and profited from it were Jewish too. So, figures. And then, so Yeltsin was universally hated for it. He was like probably the most hated president in Russian history. And then there was another dude who orchestrated reform, so Chubais, who was Jewish. That's the most hated person in Russian history, universally. Because Russia literally became, there was a social collapse at the time, after those reforms were orchestrated. And the Jews got all the power. So there was a rebellion in society. There were rampant skinheads and stuff like that. Everyone was hating the government in the 90s. Then Putin came into power, so Yeltsin, his health got bad, so he suspended his position, and before the date of the election, there was a person appointed to execute his, basically the temporary government. That was Putin, who was at the time the second in command of Sobchak, who was the mayor of Moscow. The point is that Sobchak married a Jew. So Sobchak is probably the only Aryan person in the whole of them. Like that's a tall, white, light eyes, high IQ person there in that whole chain of people managing Russia. So you would expect that he would not do some shit, but he married through Jew. Yeah, and his children are Jewish.
So he's like a what's it called? Uncle Tom type of beat. He's like Uncle Ruckus.
Well, there's I know. Do Armenians have a tradition of having Christian fathers and Christian mothers, like Christ-in-law or whatever? Yeah. So basically, there's a major public figure in Russia called Ksenia Sobchak, who is a daughter of Sobchak, mayor of Moscow, who is now deceased.
Yeah.
And her Christian father is considered to be Putin. And she's like the biggest journalist in Russia right now. And she also nominated for president as a joke. She had a massive campaign in 2020. So yeah, that's the state. Yeah. Then again, if you would Google the richest people in Russia, like out of 20 most richest people, because obviously there are people who are publicly rich and people who are privately rich, right? Because not every person that is the richest person is on that list. Because wealth is different in different measures. But if you would Google right now the 20 most wealthy people in Russia by some public measure, like 12 of the 20 would be Jewish. Then you would think, who is the most successful musical producers in Russia? It would be Alla Pugacheva or Morgenstern. It's the most financially successful person in Russia, in the music industry. He's Jewish. He's like half Tatar, half Jewish. Then you would think of the most talking heads.
Is he a producer? Wait, is that person a producer? The music guy, is he a producer, or is he like a label?
No, it's a rapper. It's a trap rapper. It's like the most popular rapper in Russia.
And he's Jewish?
Yeah, he's Jewish. But like, it's not publicly disclosed. You can read about it on Wikipedia, but it's not openly marketed. He does not wear a yarmulke or something. So then you would think about the biggest talking heads in Russia, or right now, as the Ukraine war goes on, the people who have the most views on YouTube and Telegram and other Russian social media. Here are like the top 5 talking heads. For women, it's Sobchak. Everyone knows who she is and listens to her. At least my mom does. My sister knows of her opinions and stuff. She's Jewish. Then it's the most conservative or pro-war speaker, who constantly speaks about how Ukrainians get owned and stuff like that. It's Solovyev. He's Jewish too. He's like the Jewish chauvinist. And again, he markets himself as this Russian dude, but in reality, he's literally like the Jewy Jew. Then it's the libtards have their own spokesman, which is Maxim Katz, who is against the war at any cost, and he left Russia because of it. He has, I think, 4 million subscribers on YouTube, and his video always scored in the millions, because Russia has like twice less population than the US. He's Jewish. He's like a...
Wait, hold on. Wait, say that again? You're saying there's more lefties in Russia than there are in America?
Oh, I'm saying that Russia has twice less population than the US, so every person that has enough subscribers on anything, you have to multiply it in your mind.
Double it. Okay. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So Maxim Katz, who is by far the most popular anti-war person in Russia, has, I think, 3 million subscribers on YouTube or 4, and a lot of views. And I know people in real life who listen to him. He's an Israeli citizen, and he's like an Orthodox Jew. And all the people that he's associated with, who are also like the main proponents of the anti-war camp, who have the most influence on the public, are all Jews. And then there's like a libtard indifferent boomer type speaker, which is at the top of Russian public speakers, who influences the public the most. He's Jewish too. It's like a dude who had, and they are all, the point is, those people were not naturally, by their talent, made to be...
Oh, they were like installed?
Yeah, they were heavily promoted in an organized way.
Their plans.
So like, I remember when they were completely nobodies, and then through different channels, appointed by the government in different ways, they would be promoted to become what they become.
You know what's crazy? It's like, if you say this shit in America, it's like insane. And it depends like where, right? Like, but it would make sense for something like that to be possible in Russia, just because it's like the government has a lot more control, I think, right?
What do you mean? I think American government has more control over American public than the Russian government, honestly.
Really?
Like,
okay, interesting.
I mean, American government is, you would think that because America is a more economically developed and like scientifically and stuff, is a more developed country, then the government would be more competent. And
not even just that. I mean, I think it's just the fact that we're able to openly criticize the government that makes like the difference, right? Freedom of press is a pretty big deal.
Well, the point is, you would think that you can or cannot do something, but in reality, what happens is you're only able to do that because it benefits the government. Like, why would the government not instantly kill everyone who is opposing the government? It's only because it would cause public outrage, which would lead for the government.
Hold on, because the government isn't just of one mind, right? Like, there's opposing forces on the government. That's an important part of it.
Yeah, that's in every government that is like that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they wouldn't. The only argument I see is to be like, oh yeah, the people in the government have a unified goal is like for greed, right? For money.
No,
that's like one.
No. Why would you want money if you were like, for example, a CIA chief? You can literally have anything.
Wants money.
No. Why would you? What would you buy with that money?
Fucking whatever they want. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I would say that not every person wants luxury, all right? So luxury is kind of limited. The interest in luxury is limited. And obviously, at a certain point, like let's say you have multiple billions. Let's say you're Putin, right? Or you're Trump. You can have anything.
Yeah,
like
they
people,
don't care, of course.
If Trump, let's say if Trump wants a really luxurious house, he can just ask the firm.
But I'm talking about the everyday like government member or whatever, you know, like
like a clerk.
They're not going to be as rich as Trump or Putin. That's what I'm saying. Like they have like other things to like what unified goal does every person in the government have to want to, you know, attack the public? Like, why? You know what I mean?
I mean, let's say there happens anything. So, like, let's say there are race riots. Some factions in the government would be opposed to them. Some factions in the government would not be opposed to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the government would be monolithically opposed to some group. Like, let's say there are people that are far right. Let's say like far right terrorists or something like that. So the government would instantly want to destroy them, like Charlottesville. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like let's say, yeah, and everyone in the government universally wants them destroyed because there are no factions about
they're
it.
like, yeah, was the neo-Nazis are bad, whatever.
Yeah, only like the 3 fringe candidates, or like if we're talking about unelected officials, then only like the 3 fringe person in every ministry would want them to be saved secretly. They would not even discuss that. The point is, so why doesn't the government just come after every Charlottesville person and like makes a law that makes it legal and then goes to jail them?
Probably because they don't want public perception of them to be like worse or whatever, so they do it in like sneakier ways, correct?
Yeah, because, well, the government can actually do that. It is in their power, but they don't do that because it would cause public outrage, which would lower the legitimacy of the government, which would make it harder to rule. So that is, for example...
So hold on. Yeah, like, I agree with what you're saying about this. However, like, the one thing I'll say about, like, America, is that, and I do realize that there's, like, there are plenty of ways to control the media and all that stuff, but I think because of like something like freedom of press experience, we're able to be a lot more outspoken, which makes a difference, right? Like you were literally saying like, oh, you don't want to say certain things because you're worried about like whatever the law is in Russia. Whereas in the US, you can say
yeah, there's just it's not the. I mean, it's like that in most of the world. Like in Switzerland, you cannot deny the Holocaust, or otherwise you'll go in jail.
Sure.
Expunge these xenophobes.
That's first of all. Second of all, I don't think that's a good thing. Well, obviously, like if you allow everything, then let's say the Jews will make a Berlin Sex Research Institute. Obviously, that should be outlawed. Like, not everything should be allowed. It's just the problem is that the Jews have control over what can be said and what can't, and it should be the opposite way.
Well, don't you? Okay, well, hold on. So I think I agree with you but like I also think the tides have been changing. There's a pretty decent amount of anti-Jewish sentiment been going on online recently within America and everything. I mean, weirdly enough, the left over here has been pretty opposed to the Jews. They're like weirdly supportive of Palestinians.
Yeah, but didn't it happen that every single elite member flipped on the left? Like every person that used to support the left, like Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos, or every single person of significance, they basically flipped and started supporting Trump instead. Why do you think that happened?
I don't know, tell me.
Well, it's because Trump is opposing the anti-Jewish left. That's why every powerful person flipped. Because Israel.
Well, yeah, that is true. He kisses the ring. Yeah, they want the. Oh, so you're saying they want the support of the right, and so that's why.
No, the Jews want to. The Jews they adapt their positions to whichever is more benefiting to the interests of Jews and Israel at the time. So, for example, think of in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, what was the interest of Israel?
Early 2000s? I'm not sure.
That was at the time where there were Middle Eastern wars. So, for example, the war in Iraq.
Right.
Would that benefit Israel or not benefit Israel?
Well, of course it would benefit them. Yeah,
because all the Muslims want Israel dead, and every war that makes the Muslim country go...
Wait, hold on. You're going crazy right now. You're cooking.
Allied destroyer joining squad.
What?
Because everyone in the... I'm saying you're cooking. Everyone in the US regrets the war in Iraq. They're like, we should have never gotten involved. And you're saying the reason we might have gotten involved is because of the Jews.
Yeah, so the Jews wanted the war in Iraq because it would benefit Israel. But the Americans did not want a war in Iraq. So which positions did Jews adopt at that time? They adopted the neocon position, or the position that the civilization should go and crusade against the barbarians. It's our sacred duty, right? Then the fallout of the Iraq War was that a lot of young people and impressionable people got against them. That caused public outrage because people saw that the Iraq War completely did not benefit America at all, firstly, and second of all, it was orchestrated by a bunch of powerful people who abused the system. So a bunch of people who were impressed by this, they started protesting against it. That agitated the left. Right?
Sure.
So what the Jews did is they adopt all the left position to seize the public outrage. That's where you get DAI. DAI, everyone knows that the DI and all that bullshit was created to quell the passive, what is that? Occupy Wall Street and stuff like that. Just like there was a strong push from the left for America, for basically very powerful people to have less power, and especially in the aspect of Jewish oligarchs. And then it was quelled, and it was fueled into the race territory. So so all the Jews invested their money into transgenderism and race baiting and stuff like that. And that became the main topic of the discussion. And now Israel needs help again against Iran. So they fund the position so all the Jews now flip to the side which supports them in that way, which benefits them.
So we're in and let me say this. I think we're in an interesting position, right? Because the whole sentiment of the right has been like, oh, like we shouldn't be helping Ukraine, like it's not our problem, whatever. And then I don't know what the official situation even is there, if it's pulled out and whatnot, or if the deal was made. But now with like Israel basically saying like, oh, we want the US's like support, we want to assassinate the Iranian fucking whatever. And a bunch of people are saying like, not my flag, not my war. So it's like the right has like this. The right is in power, and the entire right base is like not interested in helping out Israel.
Well, yeah, but the America is helping out Israel. Yes, why? It's because the right is not in power.
Yeah, the
Jews
people
are
in power. Right. Yeah.
The Jews placate.
Yeah, but the whole
right
point of the American system, the whole point of like Congress, the Bill of Rights, all this shit is like to bring power to the people, whether or not it's like majorly successful, like who knows, but there's the piece of me that hopes that like if enough people are like, yeah, we don't want to help the Jews here, that the system will work and those in power won't be able to just deny the will of the people.
Yeah, but think about it like this. You would see Trump as this champion of the people, right?
Not really, but
I mean, his entire campaign since 2016 was drain the swamp. Is that there is a class of bureaucrats who run against the people, and I'm going to self-fund.
Surprise! He's one of the bureaucrats, right? Like,
yeah.
But I think people will be willing to turn against him if he fucking knows too much stupid shit. Like,
yeah, the point is that people don't decide anything. The Jews decide everything. So like whoever is supporting the Jews wins.
I think. Well, hold on. I think the Jews decide everything as long as the people are blind to it. Like ultimately, if the people are aware of what's going on.
That's the point. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm saying that I think there's like a shifting tide where people are kind of becoming aware.
Yeah, so
the amount of like anti-Jew sentiment on like TikTok is fucking crazy.
That's not the current situation. That's actually the situation of politics, not only in America but in every single European country through the last 200 years. So like, if you think like 20 years ago in America, it was exactly the same, and 20 years ago before that in America, yes.
Really?
Why do you think? So it was. What do you think the Cold War was? It was a bunch of Jewish communists who funded the Trotskyists in Hollywood and stuff like that. Why do you think America went to Vietnam?
I don't know.
Well, it was because
the Jews.
It's because No, it was because the Soviet government funded Viet Cong communists in Vietnam, and America was waging a war against Soviet Union.
Oh, that's right. Yes. You're right. Yeah.
Yes. So Reagan was known as the Cold Warrior, who ran.
Calling in orbital
So the
strike.
Cold War was a thing that the Soviet Jews tried to plant the freaking Jews into Hollywood and banks and the media to control the American society, and the Americans tried to do the opposite through the CIA. So that was the dynamic. The dynamic was Americans against Jews, and in Russia there was a dynamic of Russians fighting against the Jews infiltrating our government and rigging the shit for them. And that's like in the World War II, that was exactly the same, is that the Jews wanted World War II to happen because the Jews were against Hitler. So the Jews were very interested for the Soviet Union to wage war of annihilation against Nazi Germany. And they were interested in America waging a war of annihilation against Nazi Germany. And in World War I, do you know what Balfour Declaration is?
Requesting air support.
No.
You can Google it right now, Balfour Declaration.
City of Babylon.
I'm currently watching this, so I can't really Google anything.
Paul Mines.
Okay. Balfour Declaration is a document
Oh no, it's Palestine.
by the
From Palestine.
Yeah, so at the time of World War I, Israel was not established yet, so the Jews had no country.
Air sample acquired.
The thing is that British were waging a war, World War I, against Germany, which was very toiling, and there was no successes, as you can see from the movie. No shit on the Western Front or whatever. So basically, the Jews of London, or the Rothschild, who was the leader of the Jewish community in London, which was at the time the capital of the international finance in the world, came to the British government or the British Secretary of Government, which was the leading position, Balfour, and he asked this. He told that if the British government would help, which would declare its help to the plight of Jews in Palestine, so if they would declare to help, because Palestine was heavily influenced by the British, so he said that if the British government would decide to assist the Jews in establishing their state in the Palestine, then the Jewish community would basically go to extreme length to secure the American support for World War I. So America would join World War I and help Britain. Guess what happened then? Britain declared that it will support the Jews in Palestine, and America joined World War I. That's like a document.
I see. Okay. So yeah. So this is the Balfour document.
Yeah. So basically, the entire history is Jews trying to influence gullible people with corruption and bribes and stuff, and like Epstein Island and shit like that.
Calling in orbital strike.
And normal people who are just trying to fucking have a grip on things. That's the history of the world.
Calling in reinforcements.
And then, like, if you say that, then you basically say the exact same thing as Hitler.
I don't know about all that. Okay. It was. I feel like Hitler's whole thing was wanting to take over the world. No, like they wanted to become the world power. That's what I've been. That's the goy slop I've been fed.
Yeah. Who do you think made it that Schindler's List is on your school program as a movie? Like every American watched it.
I've never fucking seen Schindler's List. I don't know what that movie is.
Don't it get shown that at schools?
No, what we did get shown in school was in my English class. I had a quite nice Jewish woman teacher. We read a book. I'm trying to remember the name, but it was some Holocaust book. It was about some guy's journal experience in the camps, the concentration camp.
Americans don't read fucking books about the Armenian genocide for some reason.
No, we do not, and it's interesting. Good point. Yeah, we put all the focus on the fucking Jews, but literally any other you know, genocide or whatever. Oh, who cares?
Well, the reason why you don't focus on them is because the Jews are in power.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're correct about that, my
Our
friend.
citizens depend on you for their safety.
I mean, believe me, I'm well aware of the Jews' hand in like all of media and education or whatever. I'm just not super aware of the governmental side of things or historical events because, like, let's be honest here. Just as people can be fed slop on the Jew side, people on the, like, you know, the anti-Jew side can also be fed slop.
Yeah, and who would be interested to have a coordinated misinformation on the anti-Jew side? The Muslims, which have no power in Russia or in America.
Have a taste of democracy.
And who else?
Let me think. So, anti-Jew, I mean Muslims and I guess like neo-Nazis within America, no?
Wait, did you say neo-Nazis?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, but neo-Nazis have even less power than Muslims.
Okay, so you're talking about groups in power? I don't know.
Yeah, because the slope is created in an organized way by powerful people, obviously.
Russians have
Requesting air
What
support.
Pussy Riot?
like the neo-Nazis.
What the fuck? Pussy Riot is a thing in Russia.
Dropping a pin.
It was a thing. What's the Pussy Riot you're talking about?
I just remember like 2005 they had Pussy.
So like there was a band in Russia called Pussy Riot, which consisted of feminists who came to a church and sang the song "Oh Mary, Saint Mary, please make Putin go away" or something like that, and they got arrested after this for the law of desecrating the temple or something like this.
I got the terminal.
Which they should have done. I would have them executed. I mean, not in a violent way. I would let them.
Bringing politics to church is kind of crazy, no?
It's not about the church. It's about that they are. I think they were like Nakedists, stuff like that.
In the church?
Yeah, they were like tattooed and they were like complete monks. And they are. I think they were also like part Jewish or something.
Yeah, then surprising.
I'm on it.
Some food.
Bro's about to get some borscht.
Calling down a sentry.
Sending down a sentry. Be the flames of justice! You want my freedom? My freedom? Gotta try harder than that!
Tagging map. West. 300 meters. Requesting sentry. Tagging location. East.
I'm out. Requesting advanced weaponry.
Marking location.
Extraction is available.
Wait, bro.
Yep.
You're like a normie, right? You're like a normie.
Bro, I don't know what the fuck to classify myself as. I don't think I'm a complete normie, but sure.
No, but like you think that Hitler was super moral and stuff. You have a girlfriend. How did you end up in a Nazi e-girl server? All right, what are you fucking doing in this e-girl Discord?
I don't. I probably just saw her on fucking TikTok and I thought she was hot. That's probably about it. I think.
Like,
which one is the? Which chick is this? I don't remember.
I'm thinking.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I just thought I was like, oh, she's kind of cute, and then I saw she was like based. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. That's about it. When people link their Discords, if I think they're funny, I'll just fucking join. That's basically how I got to the other very like you know, internet heavy Discord I was in. Where you know Destiny, the streamer, right?
Yeah.
You know, do you know the girl Lavloon?
No, who's that?
She was like in some orbiter of his that got into like a big beef with him, and there was a whole drama, and I remember she linked her like Discord or something, and I joined, and there was this community where it was just like a mix of the most like, you know, the biggest political spectrum space I've like been on, where there was this like nurse from Canada who was like a commie, and then there was this like pretty like a neo-Nazi-esque was it Bulgarian dude who was like drugged out of his fucking mind, who he ended up dying like after a fentanyl overdose. There was like some felon that was in the server. There was a whole fucking bunch. It was a crazy place.
It seemed like a normal people Discord.
I mean, maybe to you, man. I don't know. Yeah, I've never. I'm not really a part of those kind of communities. I'm definitely more normie than that. But I enjoyed being there just to like for the spectacle of it all.
You will never destroy our way of life.
So
also, yeah.
I had a conception where normal people don't fall for e-girls. Like e-girls is a Indian nigger thing, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say I like, because I don't take them serious. Like let's get that straight. I don't take.
Yeah, but you're on this Discord, bro.
Like the beginning.
Well,
like now, like just doing my thing.
Say it again. So they're gooner bait.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely recognize that's like part of it, but also it's like I'm not joining here thinking like, oh, I can't wait to fucking fall in love with my e-girl crush. Like that's definitely not like I think part of it is because I was in that other community with like all those people. I'm like, oh, these kinds of people are funny to be around, whatever. And that's like a bigger reason why. Like I'd much rather be in a like racist right-wing kind of community than some like pussy whipped like left-wing community.
You won't find it.
Although I've been in both.
On Discord, no, 'cause fucking banning them. But probably Telegram.
Better raise you. Say it one more time.
You won't find any.
I won't find communities on Discord what? Like being more left-wing or right-wing?
Right-wing. Because they've cracked down on it. every single. Out of the book.
I mean, maybe cracked down on the most like intense ones, but I think there's like still plenty of fucking places with like pretty right
I mean,
wing.
that depends. That depends on what you call right wing. Because like on this Discord, they sometimes post swastika as being right wing.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't really particularly care. Like, I'm cool with there being like a wide range of. I generally don't want to be in like echo chambers. I think that's fucking annoying. Even if I agree with what people are saying, like generally, like if I just see people sucking each other off for the fucking most basic shit, it's like this is just boring. This is retarded. Like it's important to have what is it? Pushback so that you can have interesting dialogue.
You shall spread liberation.
And so that you can better make the points that you're trying to argue for.
And that's what
why
that's
I
what
better this space.
That's like what a normie would say.
Okay, why do you say that? Why do you think that's like a normie? Do you think it's just because it's normie is that bad? Is that wrong or what?
No, it's because like when you're a little bit weird, then you would constantly try to fit in. So you would think what a normal person would do.
That's retarded. No, I completely fucking disagree, bro. Do you think I was like fucking Mr. Popular in like middle school, high school? I was always a fucking weirdo, and I never gave a shit about fucking like you want to fit in on some level, but I think I valued my own. It's.
I mean, I'm not talking about school. I'm talking about just basic communications in real life.
Yeah, you can want to be like independent and fucking, you know, still like fight for what you like think is right, or not fight for, but like you can still want to just be yourself, without completely compromising who you are, right? Like you don't have to fucking be a sheep, you know, type shit.
Yeah, I mean, you would want to immerse yourself into normal stuff. So you would be better equipped to communicate with people.
Yeah, and that's what I did, but I didn't completely like. I'm not to the point where it's just like, oh, I won't communicate with any people on the internet that who are more extreme or whatever. It's like that's why I'm like when you ask like, oh, like, or when you say if like I'm a normie, it's just I don't think I'm fully there. I think I'm like able to
it's
like
not
both.
It's more blue pill. I want to.
Yeah, maybe.
Do not let fear stop you. We need not understand their ways.
I don't know. Everyone kind of seems normie to me these days. Do you remember Frenchie? Yeah, this guy who's a student, and he lived in the commons with black people. So, well, first of all he's an Orthodox Christian. He's American, I think. He's French, and yeah, so he became a racist. But I kind of think that he gives off a normie. Like he doesn't know shit about like who Blade is or stuff like that.
Calling down a sentry.
I think I'm getting cooked.
I just think you value being not a normie quite, maybe a bit too much.
No, there's no value in it. It's just you instantly recognize a person that recognizes everything that you
I see.
recognize.
Okay, I see. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, if that's all it is, that's fine. But I think there's some people that take a little too much like pride in not being a normie, and that's like cringe as fuck.
Well, there used to be like old Chan, where people would like hand on other people not being.
Yeah.
Now everybody's
where the
like,
whole fake self thing comes from.
Orbital inbound.
Okay.
Requesting air support.
Nah.
Calling down a support weapon.
Wait, do you at least know how to flip at 26?
Flip? Like,
I asked
flip properties or?
No, like flip, like backflips.
Dude, you're asking me, right?
No, I asked this guy who's 26.
Still a virgin, by the way. That's it.
What?
Still a virgin.
He said he's still a virgin.
Yeah, so my idea was, wait, you did learn how to flip or not?
Calling it an eagle.
So yeah, my idea was to learn flips, because like,
Calling down fortification.
they add aura, right?
Oh, they fucking don't. What are you talking about, man? Who gives a shit about flips? Just get jacked.
No. Listen.
Fortification.
First of all, if you're short, then getting jacked is not a good idea, I think.
Yeah.
It's good to get
Okay.
lean.
No, dude. I mean, it's easier to get muscles. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to get muscles?
What do you mean? You can, bro, you can literally learn flips in one day. You can't get muscles.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like my big ass could never. I feel like I already have some back issues. I don't want to fuck myself up anymore.
Even fat people can learn flips. But like the issue with flips obviously is that you gain so little, and the things that you lose are death risk, right? You risk instant death.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That's why flips are badass.
Yeah.
So, like the thing is that when I was 14 and I was like maybe 16, and it crossed my mind like one time. I thought that, well, yeah, I would learn to flip, but it's not worth imminent death, right? Why would I fucking... But as I turned 21, I'm like, okay, I'm approaching 30, so...
Bro, don't even shut up! I'm approaching 30.
Because like, think about it this way. If you learn to flip, and you flip successfully, then it's aura, right? You gain aura. But
yeah, sure.
If you fail at flips, then, and you kind of land on your head, it's sad and it's bad, but at least you don't have to live at 30 or at 40. So
Okay,
it's
but
win.
that's true. But I do have to push back on the aura comment for backflips, because it's like, it's also important on like if you're doing a flip, you have to know when to do it. You can't just you can't make that your whole personality. That's definitely negative.
Yeah. You can't just come up to people and flip.
Yeah.
But
it has to be natural. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like getting muscles is the best, because you don't have to. If you're jacked, you don't have to literally flex that you're jacked. You can just exist. People notice that you're like muscly. It's like silent aura. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but on the other hand, different things do different things, right?
Yeah.
So for example, if you want to pull
Calling down a support weapon.
like, muscles will help you pull conventional women who are attracted to muscles, right?
Sure. What are you looking for?
I don't know. I think, honestly, I have like only 2 expectations from life at this point, at least in the personal life department, is that I will basically aim to pull the most conventionally attractive chick possible for my looks and wealth.
Sure.
Who would be, like, the preferable qualities would be tall, from a good family, wealthy, light, high IQ, right? So basically genetically superior. For my children to have superior genes. But she would be normie. Because people like that are normal.
Sure. And is that so bad? Because this is the thing. Like, you could. So I think if you're a real man, you can try to look for a normal girl and like you just convert her. You like slowly teach her to say the word nigger and laugh. You know what I mean? And it's fun. And it's fun. It's an example. Like you denormify her.
Yeah, the point is it's like having a pet.
Yeah.
It's like women, they act like robots. So you would fucking have to fit their robotical framework in order
Yeah, you download a new program into them.
Yeah, so you'll basically be like a psychopath.
Yeah, I mean that's true, but it is what it is, right? Like,
Yeah, that's like option one is become a psychopath, and the other option will be to find a really interesting a woman that would interest me.
well, okay, and then let me ask you this question though, right? Because a woman that you might consider interesting, she probably is gonna end up having a past, and like I don't know how much you care about that, but I do.
Well, yeah, but I've never met interesting women before. I mean, I have, but well, they were only interesting for a time, and like.
But they usually tend to be sluts, those types of women. At least in my
Yeah,
experience.
but okay, but what if you meet her when she's 16?
They're not interesting. There's no 16-year-old girl in the world that's interesting. That doesn't exist. That's not real.
I don't know, like.
They're all retarded. They're like a woman on her own is already retarded. A 16-year-old girl, she's beyond retarded.
Yeah, but the point of women being interesting, it's not retarded. It's not being retarded or not retarded. All women are retarded by default. The point of women
No, but I'm
being
saying like she's like unbelievably stupid. Are there any like intelligent 16-year-old girls? Like, because you're talking about interesting. Part of interesting is intellect, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Think about it this way. It's a girl that would have a personality, an original fucking personality, and that would expand your.
That's crazy. I don't believe that there can be a 16-year-old girl with a real personality.
I don't know. Think about. Well, I've met a girl like that before. At like 16 exactly. So like, I've met an old girl before.
How old were you when you met her? That's
16. I was 16 at the time.
Yeah, okay, so you probably, I don't think she was actually interesting. I think she was just interesting for you when you were 16.
Well,
that's a different thing. Yeah.
No, like she was like talked to me about like how she draws like horse dicks and stuff like that.
okay, wait, that is connected to it. I mean, that's funny, sure, but there's...
She had this unique style of like dyeing her hair, and she was into cosplay and stuff like that.
You had a little e-girl, okay.
No, she was not an e-girl. She only had like her only social media page was dedicating to drawing, and the one like pics of her. What?
Just drawing those horse dicks, right?
I mean, not only horse dicks, but in general. It was mostly World of Warcraft oriented.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, so she would do stuff like she would message me at 2 a.m. She would be singing a song on a guitar about jerking up that she would write.
Okay, alright, yeah, I mean...
So that was
there are a few of these like schizo girls, yeah, I think my friend knows actually one, but...
Yeah, so she was like schizo, but powerful at the same time, so she was like, she had her style, she had her fashion, she had aura.
So what happened?
Well, I mean, this also, I was not focused on her at the time because I was focused on getting into the university. And there were several other factors, but the point is that as I turned 21, I'm still like an incel loser, and I thought, well, okay, I fumbled this one, but at least I hope that she kinda went full schizo and OD'd. So that would be at least redeeming, right? I was like...
What are you talking about, man?
I was like... I mean, it would not be as embarrassing, right? And then I went on and I checked her page and it was deleted. So I thought that because she had like some mental problems, I think.
Yeah.
At least
obviously a girl like that would.
I mean, not in a way, but she had to visit a doctor or something like that. Like she expected to get some money from the government for that. The point is, so I thought that, okay, I haven't seen her in like 5 years, and she deleted all her pages. Did she ever like kill herself? Hopefully, so it wouldn't be as embarrassing. And then, you know, I used extensional information that I learned about her to look up very like. So I found her really personal account.
Okay.
And it turned out that she's now like a successful alt girl. She runs a freaking shop and goes to cosplay events. So she's like a big fucking financially successful adult person. So it's pretty over for me.
Bro, okay, shut the fuck up. You fumbled once, bro. Relax. Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm talking to myself right now.
It's brutal. It was so brutal. Like when I
yeah, man, I know, but it isn't over, my friend. You're 21. You still got a lot of. Bro, shut the fuck up. Shut up.
And like the point is that girl, she was not even up to my imaginary standard of what an interesting woman becomes.
Okay. Jeez, yeah. Dude, I really am talking to myself. This is fucking trippy. This is trippy. You know how many conversations I've had with friends that are just like this? Holy shit.
I was in it, so like, it's 21, it is over.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you it's not over, my friend. Let me tell you something. The dumbest thing I hear from fucking short people is like them complaining about their shortness. I realize that height does make some level of difference, but I don't think it's as big as people make it out to be.
Well, first of all, I think that most short people that are unsuccessful, like me, are unsuccessful not because they are short, but because they are retarded.
Yeah.
So if they were, if they were not what?
Welcome aboard, Helldiver. We can never have too many.
So yeah, I think I'm unsuccessful because I'm retarded and because I have no style.
Yeah, but do you think the question is, do you think you're doomed, right? And if you think like, are you acting in a way that's like
no, I think that I'm doomed not because I'm short, but I think that I'm doomed because I'm short and retarded. So if you're retarded and you're like a champ,
okay, but being retarded is something that you can kind of like work to change, no?
Allied destroyer.
No, I tried.
Oh, okay, how long? How long did you try for? What did you do?
Every day. I mean, I think like every day you try your best, and then like whatever happens. That's what I think.
Sure. Yeah. And but it's also important to like, you know, have a good what is it, community or like mentor figure. That's like a really important thing that you need. I know for me, like one of the like
has joined squadron.
I think a big reason I was able to kind of integrate more with like the, you know, the quote unquote normies and shit, because I really never had any type of like I said, I was a virgin until 23. I didn't have any type of real female like romantic interaction until I was like 22, 21, 22, and it's like what was able to make me kind of push myself down that path was like I had a couple good like people in my life that inspired me to end up going for it. Yeah, I think it's like a necessity.
I mean,
you need guidance.
I don't even. No, like think about it like this: if you want to marry, then you're only thinking about achieving your prime and then pulling the best people. So achieving your prime would come from looks and from wealth, but mostly from wealth.
But that's not the only thing, because this is a trap that a lot of. Do you know who More Plays More Dates is?
What?
More Plays More Dates. He's like a YouTuber.
No, I mean maybe I've heard about him.
I'll try to find the specific video, but he has a whole fucking thing talking about this, where there are people, there are like retards who just like so fully focus on just becoming like monetarily successful that they completely, that like this is why you find out about like extremely rich guys that are in like, that end up getting divorce, raped and all this shit, because they spec all their points into like money and being successful at their job, but then they're like completely autistic like and retarded. So they don't actually know how to like keep a woman like interested and all this shit.
Well, I think that's because it's because Westerners are in general blue-pilled and retarded. So the way you keep a woman is very simple. You keep her pregnant until she's like 40, and then it doesn't matter. So like, if she like makes a baby, then you wait for like, okay, you give her like 1 year to rest maximum, and then you make another baby.
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna deny that. That's one way to
like,
do it.
if she's like 27, not doing any shit, and like taking yoga classes, of course you're going to have marriage problems.
No, but that's not the only fucking bro. I'm saying like men who like spec only into the you know, being like successful and whatever will end up like not having dating success. I have a fucking therapist. I know a therapist friend who gets clients constantly, like
of
even
course
personal
you
friends.
have to have aura.
Well, yeah. How do you think? And you have to fucking develop. You don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't get to buy aura. You don't get to fucking. You can't buy it. You have to like earn it.
Yeah, I approach women. Like you need to approach women.
Yeah, you need to experience a lot of fucking failure. Do you know? And how many women have you approached? I'm like just curious. Like I want to hear your.
Last
give me
month, like 5.
5? Okay, where? Like you need.
At the mall, I approached a bunch of women. Then I approached a woman in the park.
Okay, and what was your like, script?
Near my house. So.
What was your script? Actually, tell me what your mindset was going into it first. Like, what were you hoping to get?
I was just hoping to have some fun because I was feeling playful.
Okay, that's good. That's a good mindset.
So I was just entertaining myself. So here is what happened. Like I can tell about failures or about successes.
Let's start with the failures.
Okay, so once I.
By the way, this is very base. I'm proud. I'm glad that you did this. Good job.
I mean, I'm an incel, but I'm not that retarded.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't even fucking try it. It takes balls to go up to a random person and try to like ask him out and shit. Okay, it's fucking hard. I mean, you know it. You've done it.
Definitely be attractive.
So, I mean, it's like you're like a bitch for several minutes. I mean, yeah, kind of.
But you feel like a Chad afterwards, cause dude, at least I did. Even if it went fucking horribly, I'm just like even if I just entertained myself, and that was literally it. Yeah.
It's entertaining. So the worst encounter I've had with a woman is I was in the elevator with a girl. She was like 30 years old.
Sure.
So I decided to compliment her appearance. So I said something pretty awkward, and she thought that I was going to rape her or something.
Oh Jesus, that's not good.
Yeah. She was like scared. She was visibly scared.
At that point, just like, well,
Yeah,
like,
it is what it is, though.
No, I didn't walk away. I was just here. I was like, okay, whatever. And then, yeah, we were in the fucking elevator, dude. So I walked my way. The point is that in Russia, I don't know how it is in the US or in Australia, but in Russia you can fully harass women unrestrained. Like you can say all the sexual stuff and shit like that.
Oh jeez. I hope you aren't doing that just because you can.
No, I'm being civil about it because I'm a Christian and a human being, and I'm also a gentleman. But like, the point is that in the US, I assume that if you would be messy around women, you'd probably like get arrested or something.
Well, it depends how bad you're being about it, but and like
so
where
in
you
Russia,
are also.
The most negative reaction you can get is some man will approach you and beat you up. Or the like you'd have to do something really bad for the police to approach. Because like so the point is the negative encounter I've had. I approached the girl from afar at the mall, and she looked like adult. She looked like 25 from afar, but then I approached her and I noticed she was like 14.
Yeah,
I
you're,
was like,
you're at
what
the
the
fucking
fuck?
mall. Of course it's gonna. Yeah, I remember having a situation like that happen at my local college. I was kind of. I think I'd approached like 2 or 3 girls that day, and then one of the girls was like, I think she was like 16, 17, and she like told me, and I was cringing. I'm like, oh, sorry, and then I just said bye, and that was it. Like. But yeah, it's like you have to be kind of ready for that stuff. You got to take into consideration where you are. I avoid the malls for sure.
Here's another funny occasion. So I was at the local shop or something like that, and I saw, like, from a distance, I saw 2 alt girls. I was like, yeah, alt girls, I need to approach them. Like, one of them was, so I only saw they were like incredibly hot, but like high class alt girls, really freaking high class. But then, like, I only saw them from the back, so I approached them, and I instantly started my wrist game. But then, like, they turned around, and I noticed that the girl that I started talking to, she was like 35 or more years old, and the other was like 18. So, but I already inertially started pulling the 35-year-old, and I'm like, why the fuck am I pulling this goth fucking mom instead of this hot goth? Yeah.
Requesting air support.
So.
Well, were you actually pulling her?
Yeah, because I'm 21 and I'm looking young, and she's 35. Yeah, she gave me her Instagram.
Oh, you gotta.
She, like,
damn. Okay. Bro's pulling the cougar.
Yeah, she started talking to me, like, I said, like, I really liked her styles, she looks amazing and stuff like that. Like, not like this, but in Russian, it sounds more, it has more flow in it. So yeah, she like started talking to me about biking and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck, why did I not approach the 18-year-old? Why did I inertially raise that girl? And the 18-year-old girl was looking at me like she was shocked. Yeah, so...
Why? Because you didn't go for her?
Yeah. I should have gone after her.
And what are you gonna do? Just fucking beat yourself up for her? Because
no, I don't care.
As a man, you're gonna have a lot of fumbles. It's just what you gotta do.
No, the problem is I don't have freaking money, right? And to have an alt girl GF, you'd have to have money.
But do you want to be with someone who fucking cares that much about? I don't know. Like this is why I bring up the Moscow girl that I was with. She was like, she was fucking attractive, whatever. She was hilarious, but like, she was so like everything about her was transactional. You know what I mean?
Okay, bro. Like, I'm a university student, and like, the only thing I earn like $10 a week, or like $15 a week, like $20 a week. Okay, maybe like $30 a week. And like, I live with my parents. What the fuck do I do with a girl, dude?
I mean, so you take them out to fucking like movies and shit, and you try to, if you can, you know, sneak them to your house and get stuff done. You gotta find somewhere where you can like, you know, do stuff with them.
Like, you know, I'm not so sexually like. It's yeah, like I don't care that much.
You don't care that much, or you just aren't experienced?
I mean, I don't care as much to... So having a girl is like a liability. You basically waste time and money to do nothing. I mean, it would probably give me some aura if she would be attractive. But then it would be even more of a liability.
In what sense?
Like if you pull a more attractive girl who's more high class than you... Because like, I'm pretty low class for Moscow. I'm like... Everyone who I see is higher class than me. So
I think you're like so fixated on things being over for you, and they're not. I understand there are things working against you, but to be like, oh, like you're just like throwing in the towel. You're like quitting before even starting, you know? No,
I'm not quitting before I'm starting. I'm just saying it's looking good. That's it. I'm not quitting. Okay. Just because even if it would be like 0.0%, I would not quit that.
Good. Okay.
Because like,
yeah, but
everyone
that's also to me that's how you find like the better chick, right? Like you're not going for the one that just like wants the conventional like whatever and you know, oh, like she only wants me because of my money, because then there's like that's how you fall into that trap. Like yeah, you get with like the
you have to have at least some money if you're ugly.
yeah, to like take her out and like basic shit. Yeah, I mean you work, right? Like you.
No, I earn like $30 a week.
Is that, I mean, is that enough to like take her out to like dinner or anything, or what?
No, that's barely enough. I have money, like, I basically take food from my parents, right? And then I barely have money to like afford basic shit, like transportation and stuff like that. So yeah, to have a girlfriend, I would have to find a fucking job. So I would have to spend hours of my life slaving to have a girlfriend. So to slave for my girlfriend. So I would have to. So that's just fucking retarded, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I get you, brother. I'm kind of.
I'd rather write on Discord. But I don't know. If I would be more Sigma, I'd probably do that.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I think the thing is, though, I think you can find a girl and like have them be the reason for you to like slave away like later. Like, you don't have to necessarily have the money like right away. You can like have enough to like take them out once. Oh, fucking ask your parents when I say like, hey, I met a girl. Like, fucking throw some cash a nigga's way. You know, that type of shit.
So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But I already kind of loaned money from my parents for different shit.
Okay, well, if they love you, if your father loves you, he'll want to see you get pussy, and he'll know, he'll be like, look, you just gotta be like, look, dad, be a real one.
Yeah, I need to steal more money from my dad, to be honest.
No mag.
That's Signal.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, like, true enough, but... I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world if you're fucking 21 asking for the money to, like...
No, it's only over
it's pretty over.
If you're over the 5.
Calling down a sentry.
Find one.
No, that's wrong. That's just wrong.
Calling in orbital strike.
You know how many fucking younger girls want to go for the guys mid-20s and shit?
Yeah, only if they have successful chats.
Found something.
Not even.
Southwest.
Okay, name a single example of a man above 25 years old who was conventionally not upper tier and landed a girlfriend who was not completely up for it.
Yeah, that. I mean, how cooked is the guy, like, in terms of, like, what are you talking about? What is he just like? Like, again, if you just fucking work out and have like some type of future like lined up, I think you're fine. Like if you're taking steps, type shit.
Calling down a sentry.
I don't know, like the majority of people, because like you're talking already, like if a person is, because like the majority of people have some kind of a flaw in them, like they're alcoholics or something like that.
No.
But if you're an upper tier male, then you can afford to be that and have a girlfriend. And if you're a lower tier male, it's over for you.
Well, I mean, you shouldn't want to have those flaws in the first place, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right on target.
Squid outpost spotted. Calling down a sentry. Requesting air support.
Yeah, so I think the internet basically makes you hateful towards normal women.
Yeah.
Women. And yeah, that's why you don't want to pull any women. That's why you don't have any women. It's pretty simple. That's why, and if you don't have any women, you don't even have to work. Because like, why would the men? Like most men, I think would get away with having very little if they did not have to pull women or afford them.
Yeah, I mean, also depends on the type of woman you're going for, but sure.
I mean, like if my dad was not going for my mom, he probably like live off like very little money. I think.
Sure, yeah.
Tagging map, southwest, 200
Because like men don't need money, really.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't need much. Yeah, ultimately it's all about like, you know, providing and blah 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 for women and shit. Yeah.
Like think about like having the fucking honey month or whatever bullshit. It's always for the women, because like a man would already be thinking of, or like having a luxurious wedding. A man would already be thinking about how much would you pay for your kid's college and where would you live. And a woman is like, but if you don't have this honey month and a wedding, then a woman would think you're a bitch.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're thinking a little bit in black and white, because I don't necessarily disagree with what you like set up, but it's like I don't think it's always like that, right? Like there can be more things.
No, think you meet
going on.
You think you meet like a really well thought out, unconventional woman, right? And she would tell you that, oh yeah, we don't need any money to spend on the wedding and the fucking whatever else bullshit. We don't need the wedding and the honeymoon.
The honeymoon, yeah.
So she would say that, but in reality,
well, that's why. Okay, well,
she would still want that because that's hard enough.
Yeah, yes, I agree. However,
so you will be less.
Why do you think that?
Not doing that.
Why would you like to me? I wouldn't marry a girl unless I'm like ready to buy like a house with her.
Well, in reality, I don't think. Like, in reality, you would only marry a girl, at least for me, as a supreme gentleman and woman hater. You would marry a girl only if you want to have children, right? Otherwise, why would you marry?
Oh yeah, that's ultimately the end goal. But you don't like I also don't think I like part of the thing of like, yeah, I don't want to like
dropping a pin, northeast.
I don't want to get married until like I'm ready to have a house, is because it's like, okay, that's when I can finance kids. Like it's like partially like a responsibility thing. Like how the fuck am I gonna take care of kids if I'm like I don't want to be living below my means. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Honestly, I used to care about being wealthy, so my kids would have wealth. Because I expected to have like at least 6 kids. But then I kinda realized that I'm poor, so I just don't give a shit about wealth. Because like kids can take care of themselves.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of in a similar spot. Also because I've known people who grew up rich, and they're like usually pretty shit people. Like they.
No, I think obviously if you have wealth, you will make better children than if you don't. But
you provide better opportunity for them. It doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're going to be better people. And the thing is, usually they don't, like, a lot of kids don't appreciate the opportunity you give them. So it's like people will spoil their kids because they confuse that with like love, and now the kid is spoiled, which is like bad. They can be intelligent and whatever, but if they're spoiled, it's like that's ultimately, I think, a pretty bad outcome.
Yeah, so the thing is, okay, let's say you have wealth. Then you would, so if a wealthy person does not need to work and can dedicate more time towards their children. Let's say you have 6 children and you can just not work and dedicate 100% of your time towards making your children better people. Of course they would turn out better people if you would be wage slaving, and they would do whatever, right?
Yeah, but my friend, does it always turn out like that? Because you know, that girlfriend I know from Moscow, I think the mom was a stay-at-home, and she turned out to be a pretty like bad person, right? Because like the father wasn't really involved in her life; he just kind of spoiled her. So like you know, you can have a father who's absent for, you know, because he's busy making money, or a father who who's like absent and like because he's like trying to survive, and I think you can get like completely like the opposite what is the outcomes that you might expect, right? Like the poor girl can just end up being like better than the rich girl who like also didn't really have the father, maybe didn't have the father in her life, but had the mother in her life.
Well, if you have wealth, you don't have to spoil the children. You can just be modest and teach them modesty.
Yeah, ideally, but is that how it always works out? I don't think so. I think a lot of the times parents are like lazier.
If you're retarded,
that's
then
worse. Yeah.
But again, if you're retarded and you're poor, it's worse than if you're retarded and you're rich. So. It's very simple. The point is, if the choice is between having one child with a lot of money or many children with less money, then obviously having more children is better. Because like it's better to have brothers and sisters.
Absolutely, yeah.
But on the other hand,
you mentioned the sister, right?
Yeah, I have a sister. I have only one sibling. But like my father had two brothers, so I can notice the difference. And I have also like the second grade siblings. The point is this. You're saying that you have multiple girlfriends, and we all know that that's not Christian, right? But we're all sinners. So sometimes we go against the Christians cheating. How do you...
What do you mean multiple, like over, yeah, like over time I've had like multiple girlfriends, like total.
I mean, I think it's premarital sex is a sin in Christianity. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is, but, and yeah, my
but you're saying,
is what it is in a sinner.
You're saying you have you're saying you're only going to marry if you can afford a house with a woman, right?
Yeah, ultimately, yeah. Because I don't think a marriage is gonna fucking work out if I'm poor.